Chapter 139. Ling Su raised the bucket in his hand. Voila, a bucket of water was poured over. I can't accept it. Ling Su was unyielding. You are humiliating a martial artist's dignity. Upon hearing these two words, Ling Su almost burst into tears. Ling Su, who did not say a word, raised his eyelids and said, Please report to Great Clan Elder. Ling Su cannot follow by your side in the future. Please find someone else. Half an hour later, Tang Tian and Ling Su's faces were full of bruises, half lying on the ground. Both of their bellies were as round as watermelons. Gu Shui and Mu Lei were in a daze. They completely could not understand the situation in front of them. Then there's no other way. Ling Su stood up, his expression solemn. I will not go against Great Clan Elder's orders. The bodyguard who came with Ling Su immediately broke out in cold sweat, and ran back to report to Great Clan Elder. After a while, he ran back with his face full of sweat. Not only did they not understand, the spectators from afar were all dumbstruck. It was a completely one-sided battle. Tang Tian did not use true power, and completely used brute force, but with Tang Tian's brute force, when such a fist landed on his body, it was extremely painful. Stop dreaming, Tang Tian said lazily. This is my territory, and you came to my territory to clamor. How am I going to be the boss in the future? Tang Tian stopped and looked at Ling Su below him and asked fiercely, Do you submit? Ling Su panicked. Hey, you can't do that, you can't do that. Little guy. Let me tell you, those who dare to splash me will all be beaten up like dead dogs. He went to the well with a fierce look and picked up his silver spear. Seeing the reflection of the badly battered face, Ling Su's face turned black. Bastard! If you're not hungry, then I'll eat it all, Tang Tian said vaguely as he gnawed on the roasted meat. Just as he was about to open his mouth to explain, Tang Tian had already pounced on him while howling. Ling Su, who was in high spirits, suddenly realized that he was holding a water bucket instead of the silver spear that he was familiar with. His expression immediately changed. Wait a minute, this. Half an hour, just half an hour. Tang Tian yawned even louder. Ling Su felt like he was going crazy. If you don't get up, don't blame me for being rude. Mu Lei's expression changed drastically. With Ling Su's reputation, he believed that no one would dare to refuse such a request. Lord Ling Su, the Great Elder is urging you to hurry up. Not allowing Ling Su a chance to refute, Tang Tian gave him another round of beating for a full 2 minutes. Ling Su hugged his silver spear with a black face. Ling Su completely panicked. Once he thought of himself naked in front of the whole city, he immediately felt a chill and finally gave in. I give in. Don't talk nonsense. Quickly get up and fight to the death. Only the victor has the right. Ling Su wished he could go up and stab a few holes in Tang Tian's body. But his pride as an expert prevented him from doing so. Ling Su said angrily, A gentleman can be killed but not humiliated. Tang Tian was infuriated. He pointed at Ling Su and scolded, I treated you to roasted meat, and you actually poured water on me. Bastard! Roasted meat, do you give in? There was actually such a person in this world. Ling Su was so angry that his teeth itched. But his pride as a martial artist prevented him from doing anything like sneak attacks. Bastard! Ling Su's body was not very stable due to the flying bird vortex. The dense tan Tue blade aura had already occupied his vision. In a moment of desperation, he subconsciously raised the wooden bucket in his hand. I really shouldn't have accepted this mission today. Ling Su turned a deaf ear to Tang Tian's friendly gesture. He sat down beside Gu Shui and hugged his silver spear tightly. Tang Tian did not have any intention of stopping. His attacks were like a violent storm, smashing down on Tang Tian's face. As he attacked, he scolded loudly. Gulp! In a short 10 seconds, Ling Su's face had completely changed. This was the first time he heard someone asking for a timeout before a fight. The reason was that he did not eat breakfast. The whole crowd exploded. That was Ling Su, the silver spear Ling Su. Hey hey hey! Ling Su desperately wanted to stop. You treat my good intentions as ill intent. I treated you to roasted meat. You actually drenched me with water. Ling Su was simply bursting with anger. This was too outrageous. Everyone who was watching the fight were already like clay statues. They stared dumbfoundedly at the scene in front of them that completely overturned their understanding of the world. How could there be such an evil person in the world? Heavens, what was going on? The battle intent in his body started to rise. He pointed his silver spear directly at Tang Tian. His tone became sinister. Come on! Then let us have a real fight. That fellow who could not retaliate and could only wail in pain, Tang Tian was emboldened. Pei, you ate my roasted meat and drenched me with water. You still have the right to talk about a martial artist's dignity? Ling Su thought about it and immediately felt that he had gone overboard. A wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. This was too humiliating. He really fell asleep quickly, but, who are you calling a brat? Ling Su flew into a rage. He pointed his silver spear at Tang Tian. So sleepy when he saw Ling Su's complacent expression and the bucket of water in his hands, Tang Tian immediately reacted. Gu Shui, who had been very calm all along, looked at Ling Su's face that was filled with grief and anger. She immediately felt the pressure on her. Suddenly, a figure flashed in front of her. Tang Tian also sat down and laughed. You drenched me with water. I beat you up. We are even now. Then 20 minutes it is, or 10 minutes is fine too. Tang Tian's eyes were filled with tears. The strong drowsiness made him almost unable to open his eyes. Ha 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 ha. Tang Tian's expression immediately changed. He immediately jumped down from Ling Su's body. He pulled up Ling Su, whose face was bruised and swollen. He very affectionately helped Ling Su to pat the dust off his body. From today onwards we are a family. Come come come, let us continue to eat roasted meat. I must beat all the food that this damn bastard ate into his stomach later. You are actually not sleepy after a meal? Tang Tian yawned, his eyes filled with tears. He said vaguely, tired to death. Let me sleep first. Hey, don't think that you can bribe me with a meal of roasted meat. Ling Su half propped himself up, his face revealing an incomparably satisfied expression. He said lazily, however, Great Elder wants me to bring Lady Shui back. Don't stop me. I will pretend that I never met you. When he carried the bucket of water and walked in front of Tang Tian's snoring sounds could already be heard. Tang Tian's bucket of water was still in its original position. Without saying anything, Ling Su flew to the side of the well. He put down his silver spear and picked up the bucket of water, filling it to the brim. Not satisfied? Then I'll strip you naked and make you sleep. Tang Tian also felt a little tired, but he had his ways. After a long time, the Gu family guards who were watching the battle suddenly realized that Ling Su was sitting there motionlessly. He actually had no intention of making another move. Tang Tian began to beat him up again. His fists pierced into his flesh, making a pa-pa sound. It was so painful that Ling Su's expression became distorted. On the contrary, Gu Shui was quite calm. Tang Tian was stunned. So satisfied. Ling Su wished he could lie down at this moment. The sharp blade flashed past the tip of his nose, drawing a line of blood. He was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. The pitiful Ling Su, his entire body's martial arts were all on the silver-red tasseled spear. He, who was unarmed, struggled under Tang Tian's torrential attacks. The bone-chilling well-water drenched Tang Tian. In his dreams, Tang Tian suddenly felt that he had fallen into an ice cave. At that time, he screamed and jumped up from the ground. Are you satisfied? That guy who was being ridden by someone else, that guy who was beaten into a pig's head, despair, you bastard. You're tired of living. Suddenly, he saw the well from the corner of his eye. His eyes immediately lit up. This is life. Tang Tian's emotions floated in the sunlight. Ling Su cursed and rushed over. Before sitting down, he pounced on the roasted meat. Ha 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 ha, indeed, no discord, no concord. Tang Tian turned a deaf ear to him. Fight my ass, Tang Tian sneered. His hand began to touch Ling Su's belt. Without saying a word, Tang Tian gave him another round of punches. Ling Su's words came to an abrupt end. The rain-like punches lasted for a full 30 seconds before stopping. His stomach made an unknown sound. The surroundings suddenly quieted down. Ling Su's dark face immediately turned red. The wooden barrel instantly shattered. Nonsense. Tang Tian did not even bat an eyelid. His tone was so lazy that others could not help but wonder if he had fallen asleep. These fellows' hearing must be very good, damn it. Ling Su felt inexplicably sad. Boss, Ling Su hastily dodged, but the furious Tang Tian's attacks were simply suffocating. Aha, why don't you make a sound? Hey kid, if you're hungry, come and eat with us. Tang Tian turned his face and waved the roasted meat in his hand in a friendly manner. He extended an invitation to Ling Su. Tang Tian was so sleepy that he could barely open his eyes. Additionally, he did not sense any danger when Ling Su came to stab him. He had never encountered such a scoundrel before. However, Tang Tian refused to budge. The tip of his spear was about to stab Tang Tian's body, but Tang Tian remained indifferent. Tang Tian was instantly elated. Ha 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 ha, if you had surrendered earlier, wouldn't everything have been fine? Come, call me boss. A small vortex like a flock of white birds flew towards Ling Su. This was not the end. Tang Tian's Tan-Tue drew a crisscrossed blade aura, attacking Ling Su head-on. When Ling Su was hit by Tang Tian's great monument palm, he immediately fell to the ground. Following that, Tang Tian's fists smashed down like a storm. You only want to beat me up once? Tang Tian violently beat him up. The anger in his heart was finally appeased. The pitiful Ling Su was already beaten beyond recognition. It was as if he was trampled by a group of elephants. Ling Su's eyes twitched. The surrounding temperature dropped. Gu Shui felt even more pressure. His entire life was ruined by barbecued meat. Ling Su swore that he would never eat barbecued meat again. Not satisfied? If you have the ability, Ling Su retorted angrily. Even though he was far away, the smell of barbecued meat still entered his nose. Too hateful. He actually ate barbecued meat so early in the morning. Ling Su's heart was filled with hatred. The Elders' Guild had been in session for the entire night. He had not eaten anything the entire night. His stomach was now empty. But now he had to watch a bastard eat big mouthfuls of meat in front of him. Ling Su did not expect that his goodwill would be rejected. He sat up straight and his expression turned serious. Are you serious? The furious Tang Tian immediately used the flying bird vortex. You are dead meat today. You are destined to repent for your actions today for the rest of your life. Ling Su did not utter a word. Chapter 140. Tang Tian was immediately embarrassed. He felt guilty. Instigating defection was definitely not within his expectations. He had caused him to lose his job for no reason. He felt apologetic. Ling Su's figure was tall, but slightly slimmer than Tang Tian. His hair was blue like the sea, extremely rare. He had a pair of orange-red eyes, like a pair of burning flames. Speak, Ling Su said in a muffled voice. It's better not to provoke. After a fierce battle, the two of them were beyond recognition, staring at each other without showing any signs of weakness. I'm your boss. You actually dared to make a move on your boss? Insubordination! Tang Tian scolded. Ling Su's entire body froze. The two of them looked at each other. They felt that they were unable to understand the strange thoughts of the two people in front of them. The entire place was dead silent. When Ling Su publicly admitted it, It brought a shock and impact to everyone. It was incomparable. In these 2 years, Ling Su had already used his strong performance to firmly occupy the position of the strongest martial artist in the Gu clan. His but seemed to have taken root, sitting there, not moving at all. Gu Shui suddenly remembered, Ling Su had another nickname, Angry Ling Su. Tang Tian, who was sitting at the side, had an innocent look on his face as he thought to himself, I didn't do anything. This guy's salary can't be too high, Justice? Then where's your pity? Tang Tian glared angrily. Asshole! I'll kill you! Ling Su felt as though something was gushing out of his chest. He felt that he was unprecedentedly strong. Even if he had to die for it, he would not even frown. My teacher once said, the thing that can allow you to step on the peak is not a rare spirit card, nor is it a mountain of star coins, but the belief that you hold on to no matter what the situation is. Ling Su glared angrily. Shut up! Tang Tian's mutterings came from behind, and Ling Su almost fell to the ground. Pity, pity! Tang Tian writhed on the ground as if he was having a cramp. His soft moans drilled into Ling Su's ears. Ling Su's neck turned around like a machine. The murderous look on his face made his blue hair stand upright. His orange-red eyes were completely ignited, and his gloomy face was like countless flames flashing in the dense dark clouds. Ling Su pounced on Tang Tian like a ferocious tiger. Tang Tian raised his head and didn't have the slightest intention to get up. He said as if it was a matter of course, Chia said that I should never fight with a man who just lost his job. I think what she said makes sense. For some reason, after Ling Su said these words, he only felt indescribably relaxed. This muddle-headed life was finally coming to an end. Great Elder came out from the crowd. He stared at Ling Su, and his eyes flashed with anger. Gu Shui hesitated for a moment, but still said softly, Thank you. This bastard was too shameless, too spineless. The most infuriating thing was, did he think that she had no intelligence? The 4 of them sat together and didn't say a word. Great Elder's face was green and red, but he didn't say anything. He was very clear about Ling Su's temper. If this guy really rushed up regardless of anything, no one here could stop him. Ka. Ling Su didn't say anything. He glanced at Tang Tian. Seeing Tang Tian's hesitant expression, he said in a bad mood, Say what you want to say. Ling Su looked at Great Elder and said word by word, I'm sorry, I've found myself again. Great Elder's face changed. He retreated in panic. In a moment of desperation, Great Elder shouted, Ling Su, don't tell me you want to make a move on me? Killing intent surged in Great Elder's heart. If he didn't immediately counterattack, the foundation that he had painstakingly built for decades would collapse like an avalanche. This was something he was absolutely unable to accept. He didn't say a word. He turned and walked to a place not far from Tang Tian. He hugged his silver spear and sat down. Why? Ling Su was startled. He tilted his head and thought for a moment. You're unhappy. If you're unhappy, you can leave. Ling Su's ferocious reputation was not something that Tang Tian could compare to. No one dared to touch King Ling Yama's old man. Tang Tian silently leaned towards Gu Shui. After a while, he couldn't help but ask, Don't you think this is a little too rash? But Ling Su actually betrayed them, why? Great Elder's voice trembled. Gu Shui and Mu Lei stared dumbfoundedly at the fierce battle that was unfolding in front of them. Ling Su hugged his silver spear and glanced at Tang Tian. He said in a muffled voice, What does it have to do with you? Ling Su was stunned. But in the next second, he rushed in front of Tang Tian like a fierce tiger. He roared like thunder. His saliva almost sprayed on Tang Tian's face. How can you do this? How can you? You bastard! Do you only know how to use those wretched and despicable methods? If you're a man, then fight fair and square. Ling Su suddenly walked towards Great Elder and the others. Suddenly, an old and dignified voice sounded. Ling Su, you want to leave me? I'm doing this for your own good. It's not easy to find a job these days. Tang Tian persuaded patiently. He had the tone of a boss. You're still young. You haven't experienced enough. You don't know enough about the cruelty of reality. Hey, is your brain fried? Tang Tian moved closer to Ling Su's ear. He said carefully, if you fall out with him, what about your salary? No one will give you a salary. What will you eat in the future? Tang Tian's intuition towards danger was very sensitive. This guy couldn't be provoked now. Tang Tian's mouth formed an O shape. He looked at Ling Su blankly. This guy actually did it for real. For any family, the departure of a master could be fatal and shake the foundation. The great elder's status in the family would also plummet because of this. Suddenly, a clear understanding rose in his heart. That's right. He had to be like this. He would never lose his beliefs. Ling Su exploded. He jumped up and pointed the silver spear in his hand at Tang Tian. He roared, "Come on! You bastard! I'll teach you a lesson!" Ling Su didn't even bat an eyelid. He hugged his spear. "You don't have to thank me. I'm doing this for myself." The great clan elder laughed in anger. "Ling Su, are you still a child? To think that such naive words would come out of your mouth. I'm so disappointed. Where did you get the money for your training? Where did your spirit cards come from? Where did the treasures come from? From the sky? Now you're complaining that I'm not doing things righteously? But if you think that no one can deal with you, you're wrong." Tang Tian's expression froze. "Are you praising me or praising me? For justice. A bastard like you should be taught a lesson." Ling Su retorted. Ling Su shook his head. "I don't like to bully the weak. I'm tired of living like this. My teacher told me that as a martial artist, I should be righteous and compassionate. I've never been able to satisfy my teacher. But I don't want to continue sinking. So I'll stop here. What I've done for you is worth every star coin you've paid." Gu Shui seemed to understand. "But I still have to thank you. This is what I believe. This is what I like. This is the foundation of my spiritual world. Those who cross this line will be killed without mercy." This was the first time she sized up Ling Su. The street regained its peace. "Were you enlightened by my beating? Oh, or did I beat you up until you found your conscience?" Tang Tian's eyes lit up. "It must be. It must be. I'm indeed a godlike young lad. Waha! I'm too powerful." Ling Su hugged his spear. He sat there gloomily. His expression was unkind. He was like a volcano that could erupt at any time. Tang Tian was overjoyed. "Then I'll say it. This powerful martial artist had a fiery temper. Rumor had it that he hated evil. If there was a disagreement, he would start a fight. This idiot didn't fall for it? So strange." The stiff Ling Su returned to normal. He hugged his red embellished spear. He sat down again. "That's right. For the sake of power, you killed her parent. That's your problem. I can't be bothered. But you racked your brains to kidnap a girl who had just lost her parent. She'll be your breeding machine. She'll give birth to a descendant with the snow rainbow blood meridians." Ling Su's orange-red eyes lit up with flames. He pointed his spear at Tang Tian and shouted, "Even this asshole knows what to do. What does pity have to do with you?" Ling Su was baffled. Ling Su ignored him. He walked for 7 to 8 steps before stopping. The spear in his hand pierced into the limestone floor. He swung his arm. Chi-la. A deep straight line extended from his feet to the other end. Great Elder's promise was powerful and resonant. He had discovered his own mistake, so he resolved it with exceptional decisiveness without the slightest bit of sloppiness. Many people in the crowd secretly applauded the Great Elder's performance. To be able to admit his mistake in front of so many people and act heroically, he was indeed a shrewd and ruthless person. She had heard of Ling Su's name more than once. Ling Su had not followed the Great Elder for a long time. He had only appeared 2 years ago. But in just 2 years, He had become a famous martial artist on Phylan's star. Such a strong murderous aura. Ling Su noticed Tang Tian's expression from the corner of his eye. His mood instantly improved. Ah! Tang Tian screamed. He fell to the ground like a noodle. He twisted his body from time to time. He looked like he was in great pain. Ling Su was dumbstruck and immediately raged. Do you think I'm an idiot? Why? Unhappy? The great elder's voice calmed down. He thought about it. It seemed like he had not won over Ling Su enough. He tried his best to make his voice sound sincere. I did not take good care of you. I hope you can give me a chance to make up for it. No matter what you want or what ambition you have, I will support you. The Gu family will also support you fully. Money, spirit cards, treasures, blood meridians. Whatever you want, just say it. Ling Su spat out these words coldly. His gaze swept across the crowd. Everyone kept quiet out of fear. The smile on Tang Tian's face was a little stiff. He waved his hand. With an expression that said, "You don't have to mind," he laughed. Ha 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 ha, I was just asking. It was really just a casual question. If you don't want to say it, I won't ask. Gu Shui was stunned by the scene in front of her. Not only her, Mu Lei's mouth was wide open. The scene in front of them made them confused. Chapter 141. Ling Su glanced at Tang Tian. I know. He wanted me to be a good person like him. Until he passed away, I didn't satisfy him. I started to wander around. From the age of 11 until now I have been wandering around. I am getting stronger and stronger, but I am not happy. If I am not happy, I will move to another place. That's true. Tang Tian thought of the elusive Xia. The current situation was obviously not his forte. He shrugged. Then what should I do? Who can resist the Snow Rainbow bloodline? The whole Gu family knows that he proposed to my father on behalf of Gu Wu but was rejected by my father. If I did not spread the news about the Snow Rainbow bloodline, Gu Wu would have kidnapped me. The other branches would not have dared to fight with Gu Wu for me. Tang Tian said proudly, Don't worry, this godlike young man is very strong. He is never afraid of fighting. Otherwise, how could he be your boss? Maybe I can find the starry door. Tang Tian was unconvinced. Not satisfied? Tang Tian was stunned. You are so powerful, but he is still not satisfied? Ling Su glanced at her. What can they do? Ling Su had a do whatever you want expression. You may be disappointed. The starry door that I came from is gone. This is an unstable star belt. Without the stability of the star stones, the starry door cannot be stabilized. Gu Shui said solemnly, My father did not complete the research. I can only open it based on some guesses. I do not know what the final result will be. I need some preparation. Wait. Gu Shui showed a rare determination. We just need to wait for 3 days. They will definitely come back. Then you must know how to leave this place. Tang Tian's face was full of anticipation. Gu Shui saw that the two of them were about to quarrel. She quickly said, Actually, there is another way. Of course. Ling Su looked proud. He glanced at Tang Tian with disdain. Ling Su's voice sounded like he was talking in his sleep. When I heard the news of my father's death, I knew that Guan Xiong not only wanted to be the clan leader, but he also wouldn't let me go. Gu Shui's face was pale, and her brown eyes were filled with sorrow. When Ling Su saw Tang Tian frowning, he was in a good mood. Phylan's star is located in an unstable star belt. The stargate here was very unstable. In order to stabilize the stargate, it cost a lot of money, so there was a limit to the number of times it could be opened. If you want to try those unknown stargates, go ahead. However, don't blame me for not telling you. The unknown stargate on Phylan's star has changed a lot. You might not be able to come back. As expected, women should not be provoked. Wow. We are the same age. Tang Tian raised his arms excitedly and cheered. Don't worry. From today onwards I, your boss, will protect you. We can form the young god invincible combo. Kill towards the Southern Cross constellation. Save Chia. Who? Tang Tian came over again like a curious baby. The two of them were attracted by Gu Shue's words and turned their faces at the same time. It's useless. Ling Su had been with the Great Elder for a long time, so he was very familiar with Gu Shue's situation. He hit the nail on the head. What can these people do? I can defeat them all by myself. Don't think that the Great Elder will swallow his anger. Based on my understanding of him, he will definitely fight back, and his fight back will be very fierce. How old are you now? Mu Lei couldn't help but ask. Ling Su, who was at the side, laughed mockingly. Where can she go? Once she leaves the Gu clan, she will be targeted immediately. The enemies of the Gu clan will not hesitate to kill her. Please, she has the hidden snow rainbow bloodline in her body. If she gives birth to a descendant, won't it be a big problem for the other clans? Even a careless person like Tang Tian could tell that Ling Su's emotions were not quite right. What do you have in mind now? Tang Tian asked Gu Shui. He suggested, we can bring you away. As long as you leave Black Mountain City, you can go anywhere you want. The empty streets were silent. Snow started to fall again. Mu Lei was also shocked. He was actually weak in front of this bastard. It was too embarrassing. Ling Su asked, why don't you start now? Then which constellation were you in the past? Tang Tian was curious again. You want to leave Phylan Star? Ling Su looked at Tang Tian and gloated. It's not that easy to leave Phylan Star. Every clan has a quota every year to recommend young people with potential to participate in the competition. Only the top 10 are qualified to leave Phylan Star. Tang Tian used the wood from the ruins to build a shed. The four of them sat under the shed. Fortunately, the wind was not strong and they had shelter. Even the weakest Gu Shui was at the 4th level and above, so they did not look too bad. Tang Tian was still alright, as his knowledge of blood meridians was extremely shallow, while Ling Su was dumbstruck. He knew the value of activating the hidden blood meridians. That bastard is too hateful. Tang Tian's eyes were filled with anger. I will kill him. Ling Su said to himself, I always felt that I did well enough, but he was not satisfied. That's right. I could see the dissatisfaction and disappointment in his eyes. He is a good man, a really good man. He adopted me when I was young. If not for him, I would have been eaten by the wolves in the wild. I worked very hard. I have always worked very hard. But he was still disappointed. Tang Tian frowned. He asked unwillingly, is there no other way? Don't look at how he beat up Ling Su. That was because he took advantage of him. Ling Su's eyes flashed with a cold aura. His face suddenly became serious. Southern Cross constellation. Gu Shui looked at Mu Lei apologetically. She explained, this was one of the reasons why my father was killed. I don't know how Gu and Xiong found out about this. Because Gu and Xiong came to ask for Gu Wu's hand in marriage. My father and Gu and Xiong had a bad relationship. Since he came to ask for Gu and Xiong's hand in marriage, my father and I guessed that he might know something. Gu Shui nodded. She looked at Tang Tian quietly. Then who did you learn your martial techniques from? Tang Tian asked. Her calm tone made Tang Tian feel a chill down his spine. Tang Tian was surprised. You're not from Phylan Star? He was very disappointed in me. Ling Su, who was hugging his silver spear, looked afar. Amidst the fluttering snowflakes, he seemed to be in a daze. He muttered, he was always disappointed in me. Ling Su glanced at Tang Tian. He pretended that he did not hear anything. Nonsense. Ling Su snorted. Ling Su shook his head. He hugged his silver spear. His body curled up into a ball. His mood was gloomy. He was very unhappy with me. The fact that I have a hidden bloodline was actually discovered by my father when I was very young. All these years, he had been researching on how to activate the hidden blood meridians. Because he was worried that the news of my hidden blood meridians would leak out, he did it very discreetly. Even Uncle Mu did not know about it. Gu Shui explained. Gu Shui shook her head. I can't leave. No wonder he was so strong. Your teacher must be very powerful. Mu Lei sighed. To be able to teach such an outstanding student like you, he must be very pleased. The snowflakes fell quietly. In his vision, those familiar scenes quietly floated up from his memory. Why? Tang Tian did not understand. Even Mu Lei was moved. 17. Ling Su was expressionless. Wait. But we still underestimated his ruthlessness. Now that I think about it, we were too naive. If Father could really activate my snow rainbow blood meridians, then Father would most likely become the new clan leader. Guan Xiong was determined to become the clan leader. How could he allow such an accident to happen? The night gradually fell. I'm asking you a question. Tang Tian persevered. What did this bastard say just now? Mu Lei did not say anything. He only bit his lip. My teacher. Ling Su's stiff face became gentler. Ling Su's eyes twitched. All the sadness in his heart immediately disappeared. This rascal was indeed an expert at destroying the atmosphere. Miss. When Mu Lei heard that there was danger, he immediately revealed a look of objection. Tang Tian patted Ling Su's shoulder righteously. I'm your boss. Which boss isn't familiar with their lackeys? Wa Aries, a big constellation. No. Gu Shui shook her head. Leave him to me. I want to personally send him off. Gu Shui turned and said softly, Uncle Mu, rather than being humiliated by others, I would rather try. Even if I die, I'm not afraid. Mu Lei and Gu Shui were in disbelief. In their eyes, Ling Su was so young. He already had such a powerful strength. If he was not satisfied, then how strict was Ling Su's teacher? Wandering. Tang Tian's eyes lit up. Then you must have been to many places. This time, not only was Tang Tian surprised, even Gu Shui and Mu Lei were surprised. I've never been to school. Ling Su's face turned cold. It was the same as what Mu Lei and the rest had said. Aries. Ling Su was slightly annoyed. Why are you being so wishy-washy? Godlike young invincible combination. Ling Su, what did you do in the past? Tang Tian, who was free, asked Ling Su curiously. He felt that Ling Su was an interesting person. He could even be compared to a Maori. Wandering. Ling Su unwillingly spat out these two words. Tell me. Since everyone is bored, the night is long. Tang Tian had a gossipy expression on his face. When you were in school, you were very powerful, right? Ling Su's face turned gloomy. The corner of his eyes twitched. He was on the verge of going berserk. Being called boss was definitely not a good memory. Scram. Ling Su glared at him. My clansmen. Gu Shui explained. If this house completely collapses, their situation will become even worse. They don't have any powerful experts, but their numbers are not small. They are also a force. The activation of the recessive blood meridians, that meant. Mu Lei and Gu Shui were shocked. The 17-year-old Ling Su had actually been wandering for 6 years. They could not imagine an 11-year-old child, wandering outside, fighting in the adult world. Tang Tian was puzzled. Why are you looking at me? Then we wait now? Tang Tian asked Gu Shui. Gu Shui quietly narrated. Ling Su rolled his eyes. You are such a dark and wretched guy. When you meet a real person, don't pee in your pants. Chapter 142. Find someone to lead the way. Hua Rong said indifferently, the earlier we settle it, the earlier we can relax. If there's any business in the future, great clan elder, please take care of us brothers. Guan Xiong snorted coldly. Why wouldn't he dare? In the entire family, the only one I have no chance of winning is him, this old fellow. Don't be fooled by his usual silence. Once he makes a move, he will definitely not give anyone a chance. The butler had a bitter look on his face. Zia rejected. Seems like the rumors are true. He had many dealings with Ling Su. Star coins, spirit cards, star rocks, etc., were all given to Ling Su by him. Ling Su's treatment in the first branch was definitely second to none. Then I'm relieved. The great clan elder forced a smile. Hua Sha was ugly, taller than Hua Rong by a head. His body shape was more powerful. His bulging muscles made people feel a sense of terror. Standing there, he was like an iron mountain, standing in front of him, a strong sense of oppression, like a pair of invisible hands strangling your throat, making you unable to breathe. His weapon was an extremely heavy double-headed mace, which he carried casually. Tang Tian pretended not to hear, looking up to the sky and laughed. With that glance from Huarong, the great clan elder felt as though his heart was gripped by a pair of hands, and almost stopped beating. He was a decisive person and knew what to do at this moment. Bing ignored Tang Tian, but stared at Ling Su. What else did your teacher say? The two brothers were able to enter the top 50 of Phylan's star at the same time. They were the only ones. Either one of them, to the Black Mountain City, was an absolute expert. No one could stop him, everything was in his control, including Gu Shui. Who was this fellow? The great clan elder revealed a satisfied look. With them taking action, I'm relieved. Remember to remind them not to harm Gu Shui. I want him alive. This is my mistake. The great clan elder regained his composure and said in a low voice, I took too little care of Ling Su. How can such a genius be won over with just money? I was too careless. Tell me, what kind of person is Ling Su? The first elder couldn't help but be shocked and pleasantly surprised. Huarong's words were casual, but it gave people an extremely strong confidence. He could feel the powerful aura coming from the other party. This level of aura, so strong. Tang Tian patted Ling Su's shoulder and consoled him. Young lad, you must be open-minded. Oh my God, you actually stoop to the level of a spirit general? Yes. The steward replied respectfully. And there were two of them. In next to no time, the remuneration was sent over, and Huarong glanced at it before putting it away with satisfaction. Two names popped up in Gu Wu's mind and his face turned pale. Gu Wu and Gu Enxiong hurriedly ran over. The two towering men, led by a martial artist, walked towards the ruins in a relaxed manner. What kind of person was Ling Su? Huarong, 185 m tall, strong and powerful, his brown hair draped over his shoulders, his upper body naked, his chiseled muscles glowing a bronze color, his gaze cold. He held a copper rod in his hand. Ling Su's eyes suddenly widened as if he was ignited. He flew into a rage. You're the little kid. Your whole family is made up of little kids. Invite them in. The first elder suppressed the joy in his heart and said hurriedly. He stood up to welcome them. Even the stupidest person would know that the first elder was only preparing his counterattack. Once he was done, what awaited Ling Su and the rest would definitely be an extremely swift and fierce counterattack with the weight of Mount Tai. Huarong was slightly surprised at the first elder's straightforwardness. He nodded, as expected of the first elder. You're straightforward, us brothers won't be long-winded. They won't live past today. Bing's gaze was fixed on Ling Su. Hua Sha grinned. He looked silly but was like a wild beast. One day later, they will be here. The housekeeper gritted his teeth. Ling Su and that brat, they won't be able to come up with any tricks. The housekeeper's face was ashen, and he roared in the hall. He was the first elder's trusted aide, and had followed him for 40 years. More than half of the affairs of the first branch had to go through his hands. Even the few sons of the first elder did not have as much authority as him. First elder, they're here. The housekeeper's voice was trembling. Tang Tian was shocked and immediately stood up. He's called Bing, my spirit general. Tang Tian was shocked. Wow, your teacher is so powerful? He must have guessed that there's a godlike young man in Southern Cross constellation, right? Yes. The housekeeper was also excited. They are willing to accept this order. Although the price is high, but the top-notch martial artists are only the two of them. The good thing is that although the price is high, the Hua brothers have a good reputation, and are easier to deal with than Xia. He had long seen Gu Shui as his, and was determined to get her. But it was not only because of Gu Shui's recessive snow rainbow blood meridians. Gu Shui's beauty, these few days, kept appearing in his mind, and he could not sleep at night. Aries constellation. Bing was trying his best to recall. Suddenly, wait a minute, he turned around and stared at Tang Tian with an unfriendly expression. What do you mean by lowering yourself to the level of a spirit general? Gu Enxiong's face was ashen, and he muttered to himself. As expected, in comparison, Ling Su was too lacking. Two majestic figures appeared at the door, and the light from the door was immediately blocked. The two walked in front of the first elder. A strong sense of oppression came straight at him. Even the first elder, who was used to many big scenes, could not help but feel his heart tremble. His gasp was mixed with a strong tremble. It's too quiet. I feel like I can't breathe. Gu Wu stood in front of the window, looking down at the empty street, his tone revealing a tinge of nervousness. Suddenly, De Wei, who had been observing the street, shouted, "They're out!" This was a real strong martial artist. Gu Wu was stunned and immediately screamed, "Don't tell me the first elder wants to kidnap Gu Shui too? He dares!" Gu Enxiong shook his head. The first elder will not do something he has no confidence in. You! The steward did not expect Hua Rong to be so unruly. His eyes flashed. He wanted to tell everyone, those who dared to betray him only had one ending: death. Looking at the two quarreling, Gu Shui, who was playing with Yaya, suddenly felt how good it would be if time stopped at this moment. Hua brothers. The first elder heard of this name, and his eyes lit up. The two brothers Hua Rong and Hua Sha? That's the Hua brothers. The first elder said decisively, "We have to be fast. The earlier we settle it, the more advantageous it will be for us. The later we wait, the more passive we will be." The first elder muttered, "To be able to escape from Xia, their abilities cannot be underestimated. What about the rest?" Suddenly, a figure appeared beside Tang Tian. "Who is your teacher?" "Let's not think about it." The first elder shook his head and sighed. "To make such a mistake once, we have to pay a heavy price. Now think about how to remedy it. Have you managed to contact them?" All the eyes that were staring at the street were overwhelmed with shock. Ling Su suddenly stood up and put on a defensive stance, his pupils constricted. "Who are you?" "My teacher told me before." Ling Su revealed a look of reminiscence. "Don't provoke the strong martial artists of the 13 palaces and people related to Southern Cross constellation." When the two of them left, the first elder sat back on the sofa. Only then did he realize, unknowingly, his entire body was drenched in sweat, and he felt weak. "We have already paid the deposit," the steward said. As expected of one of the top 50 strong martial artists in the entire Phylan's star. Gu Wu forced himself to calm down. "It's not that easy. Ling Su and that mysterious fellow are not to be trifled with, and there's still Mu Lei." "Little friend," Hua Rong said expressionlessly, "where are our things?" The unusual silence revealed that this was the calm before the storm. Ling Su knew that Bing was not in danger and kept his spear, but he was unhappy with Bing's gaze and snorted. "I forgot." Hua Rong acted as though he did not hear anything. His pair of cold eyes gazed at the first elder. "We are very busy and have no time to delay with you guys." The Hua brothers. Gu Enxiong did not have his usual calmness. Sitting on the chair, his face was gloomy and laughed bitterly. "This time we have miscalculated. Ling Su's betrayal just happened to give this old fellow an excuse to exert his strength, and we have wasted our efforts." Really? Ha! Your foresight is indeed not bad." In front of Ling Su's black face, the elated Tang Tian continued to speak to Bing. "Hey, uncle, don't be so fierce. It's not good to scare little kids." "Yes." Tang Tian's face was strange. You've heard of the Southern Cross constellation? He said to Hua Sha. Let's go. You want to go to the Southern Cross constellation? Ling Su stared at Tang Tian's face, as though there was a flower on Tang Tian's face, and did not blink. I'm counting on the two of you. In front of such strong martial artists, the first elder did not dare to put on airs. Spirit General? Ling Su looked at Bing suspiciously. Your Spirit General is the same as you, quite different. Tang Tian's face had an expression of, as expected, and said to Bing, See, I told you. The butler was stunned, he could not help but recall. He said uncertainly, Slightly boring, not really talkative, not very happy, seems to be uninterested in anything. Ling Su, this ingrate. When did we ever owe him anything? He actually changed sides? Asshole. We can't let him go like this, definitely not. The first elder raised his hand to stop the butler from scolding, and said calmly, Sooner or later it will have to be given. I have confidence in the two of you. Go, bring the money that we have prepared. The cold aura that belonged to a strong martial artist pressured every corner of the room. The entire Black Mountain City was abnormally quiet, all the families were restraining their own families. The prosperous Black Mountain City was even a little withered. The huge street was empty, not a single person. The others who are willing to accept this job are only the Hua brothers. The butler said. The first elder of the Gu clan, among the elders of the Gu clan, his prestige was unparalleled. It was under his management the power of the first branch was much more outstanding than the other branches. Chapter 143. Boiling fresh blood and fighting spirit was boiling hot. Scram! Ling Su was enraged. But he suddenly tilted his head and asked, Are they stronger or Zia? Hua Sha dragged the mace backwards. He was like a wild beast running wildly. The mace rubbed against the ground behind him and created dazzling sparks. He dragged the sparks along the way and ran madly. Dong! Tang Tian's last step on the ground was like a cannonball and suddenly disappeared. Defeat him! The mace with dazzling sparks was flung out from his right leg. But everyone could not help but hold their breaths. Their gazes, without exception, were all fixed on the Hua brothers. Their eyes were filled with fanatical anticipation. They had no doubts about the outcome. But they wanted to see with their own eyes, these top fighters of Phylan's star who only existed in legends, and rarely seen in person, how magnificent they would win. The crazy murderous intent on Hua Sha's face suddenly froze. Hua Sha's pupils suddenly contracted. Tang Tian's last step, coincidentally struck at the moment when he launched his attack. He had no time to change his move. Well said. Domineering. Tang Tian clapped with a gratified expression. As the boss, I admire you very much. Do you want the left side or the right side? You choose first, in case you have another excuse when I save you later. Kill them, Hua Sha said in a low voice. Top 50. Tang Tian's expression also turned solemn. This guy is not simple. Both sides are not even on the same level. Without hesitation, Tang Tian used all his strength, and threw himself out. Watching Ling Su and Tang Tian coming towards them, Huarong's indifferent face revealed a mocking smile. I can't tell, our two little friends are quite brave. Do not belittle this half a second, in a battle between experts. A flaw of 1/10 of a second was already rather dangerous. So this is what a top-notch expert looks like. Before Ling Su opened his mouth, Tang Tian pointed his thumb at himself and said with a smug face, Ling Su, fight bravely like a godlike young man. But his gaze did not waver. Maybe I've never seen it before. I bet 5 moves. No, we have to play with them. I haven't met such brave little friends in a long time. Huarong squinted his eyes, and a hint of mockery flashed across his eyes. Such little friends can play with us for a while. This was a battle without any suspense. The top 50 experts of Humble Forest Planet, in the entire Humble Forest Planet's food chain, were all at the top. The so-called top fighters of Black Mountain City, in front of such fighters, were as weak as dolls. Ling Su might have a bright future ahead of him, but right now, he could only do whatever he wanted in Black Mountain City. Hua Sha shook her head and said in a low voice, "I don't like to play. Look, look. They are rushing over. There's nothing to see, 10 moves, I bet they won't last 10 moves. Anyone want to bet with me? Teacher, not good." Tang Tian was like a flash of lightning, rushing towards Hua Sha. Tang Tian did not even turn his head. His gaze was fixed on Hua Xiong on his left, his heart blazing with fighting spirit. On any planet, to be able to enter the top 50 was definitely strong. Although Phylan Star was the lowest level planet under Onyx Soul, but the average standard of Phylan Star's martial artists was much stronger than the fallen immortal constellation. No. Tang Tian stretched out a finger and shook it lightly. There is a very fair battle in front of us. One for you, one for me, whoever defeats the opponent first wins, how about it? Ling Su, do you dare? That's right, throw them out. When the figures appeared on the streets, Ling Su's eyes suddenly shrunk, and his heart sank. The two figures rushing towards the Hua brothers were so small and insignificant, so weak. Looking forward to sparring with Xia. Such words in these 10 years in the entire Phylan Star, no one dared to say it. Xia. Mu Lei's spirit was slightly lifted. He remembered that Tang Tian was the one who could escape from Xia. With a body the size of a small hill and the incomparably heavy wolf-fanged mace, Hua Sha's every step shook the earth and mountains when she ran. Hua Rong, who was sprinting, started to relax his wrists, the copper rod pressed down lightly, the calm expression on his face gradually disappeared, his murderous aura rose rapidly, the heavy brass rod in his hands was like a light cicada's wings, vibrating rapidly. Tang Tian's gaze locked onto the Hua brothers who were walking towards them leisurely. There was no fear in his heart, only a burning desire to fight. Such a pity. I have been looking forward to sparring with Xia again. If he could not even defeat Hua Sha, how could he challenge Xia? But there was no fear in his heart. The wind blew on his face. His short blue hair rippled like waves, his orange-red eyes leaping with flames. Bullshit. Who's trembling? Ling Su flew into a rage. I'll be afraid? Just these two fellows want me to be afraid? I can beat the shit out of them with one hand. It was as if they could see Ling Su and Tang Tian in the next second, like a loose scarecrow, completely crushed by the Hua brothers. Among them, no one could maintain their composure in the face of such a wild attack. The one who answered Tang Tian's question was Mu Lei. This Iron Man's face was filled with despair. His voice was hoarse, very powerful. They are the only two brothers to fight their way into the top 50 of Phylan Star. A figure with a sharp edge stretched out, entered Hua Sha's vision without warning, like a pair of scissors sweeping across the sky. It appeared below his left leg. Save me? Ling Su's eyes were red. You said I will lose? You still want to save me with your lousy skills? Come on, let's fight first duel. Let me tell you, I've long found you an eyesore. The two brothers had different personalities, the difference was huge. Hua Rong was more shrewd and cunning, Hua Sha was much more dull, but not only was Hua Sha born with superhuman strength, he was even more talented in martial arts, and fought like a wild beast. As the distance between the two shortened rapidly, the voices of discussion disappeared instead. Still Xia? Ling Su laughed coldly. Think about how to fight today. These two bears are not ordinary bears. With that bit of strength of yours, you will probably be beaten to the shit out of you. The ground shook and interrupted Hua Rong's words. He turned his face in dissatisfaction. The movement just now was caused by Hua Sha casually placing the double-headed mace on the ground. Mu Lei stared blankly at Tang Tian. He was stunned by Tang Tian's arrogant words. Now, Hua brothers! Everything around him became a blur, only Hua Sha's movements he could barely catch. Suddenly, Tang Tian's pupils contracted. His eyes caught a movement of Hua Sha's wrist. Hua Sha carried the double-headed mace with one hand, took big strides, and started running. Uncle Mu, watch out for other people's sneak attacks. Gu Shue's face was pale without a trace of blood, but she still sat upright, and did not panic too much. Don't tell me they don't know the Hua brothers? Even while sprinting, Tang Tian's body was leaning forward by a large margin. He still held his head up. Hua Sha, who was magnifying rapidly in his eyes, was indeed imposing. That crazy murderous intent was enough to tear everything into pieces. A strong sense of danger lingered in his mind. His instincts had already given him a warning. Even the onlookers, in the face of the Hua brothers' crazy aura and murderous intent, all turned pale with fright. He was actually a full half a second later than him. His tone suddenly became awe-inspiring. What's his name? Ling Su? I heard he's a prodigy with a lot of potential. There's nothing more exciting than destroying such a prodigy. Come on, big black bear, witness the prowess of this godlike young man. So impatient. Hua Rong shook his head. He could not do anything to his own brother, but the next moment, he too disappeared on the spot. This thought in Tang Tian's mind was so strong that he almost wanted to roar out loud. Tang Tian suddenly raised his head. He stood up and looked towards the end of the street. Half a second later, Ling Su also sensed the opponent's aura. He also felt a chill in his heart. Holding his silver spear, he stood up. He glanced at Tang Tian with some surprise. This guy's senses were really sharp. Rumble, rumble. As the two parties got closer, the crowd did not even dare to breathe loudly. Gu Enxiong's face also revealed a shocked expression. Ling Su's expression, as though he was facing a formidable enemy, made Tang Tian slightly shocked and hurriedly asked, "Is he very powerful? This guy is really arrogant. Anger can't solve the problem, young man." Tang Tian's eyes locked on the two people walking over, his expression cold, and spat out 4 words, "I'll take the left, you take the right. My target is Zia." Gu Shui watched the internal conflict between the two dumbfounded. Are Ling Su and that kid crazy? They actually rushed over. Gu Wu stared blankly at the street below, his face full of disbelief. A brand new life, using a battle to declare the beginning, there's nothing better than this. Ling Su's gaze immediately turned to the distance. He was a little curious about the upcoming opponent. Based on his understanding of the Great Elder would definitely fight back heavily. Alright. Huarong looked helpless. Up to you, but don't snatch mine. Oh my god? They actually didn't run. Tang Tian retorted sarcastically. Loser, go away. Hey, why are your legs shaking? TSK, if you're afraid, just hide behind Gu Shui, Yaya will protect you. Ling Su's heart was filled with a kind of new emotion, like a bright ray of sunshine shining through the hazy weather. He did not know why he was so touched. He quickly put this inappropriate emotion to the back of his mind, waiting for the next battle. Not only them, everyone who was watching this battle, at this time, could not believe their eyes at this time. His eyes were firmly locked on that domineering figure. The wind whistled in his ears, like a howling horn, urging him to move forward. The speed of both sides was very fast, like 2 meteorites, colliding head-on. Before the voice died away, Ling Su rushed out with a whoosh. Chapter 144. Tang Tian took down Hua Sha in one move, which made everyone's jaws drop. In the battle between Ling Su and Huarong, he actually did not fall into a disadvantageous position. The concentrated sounds of the spear and rod clashing, and the countless sparks in the air, did not stop. This guy's brute force was even stronger than a Maori, that freak. If the two of them could last more than 100 moves, it would be enough to make them famous. But this battle suddenly became interesting. Tang Tian used all his strength in this move, and was unable to stabilize his body, and flew out more than 10 feet, sticking close to the ground. The rod technique that he trained was a cicada wing rod, which was a rod technique that walked the path of lightness. But he was ingenious, and instead used the extremely heavy brass rod. Although his strength was not as terrifying as Hua Sha, but his arm strength was equally shocking. Speed and weight were ingeniously blended together, and it was amazing. The 1.6 m tall Hua Sha had shrunk a few sizes, and did not have the slightest sense of strength anymore. Even the ferocious look on his face had become gentle and refined. Tang Tian's newly invented technique of exerting strength was suddenly unleashed. "This is," a hint of greed flashed past his eyes, "an armor set in Phylan's star, was definitely a rare item. Not to mention Phylan's star, even in Onyx Soul, an armor set's value was rather high, and this guy's armor was obviously not an ordinary item." Hua Rong's rod technique was actually forcefully blocked by this pointed sea spear. The resistance of the pointed sea spear was extremely strong. The spear and rod had clashed countless times, but not once. Hua Rong felt that the brass rod in his hands had hit something solid. The tip of the spear was dotted with starlight, dots of silver cold light, lit up in the air. 1 became 2, 2 became 4, 4 became 8 in the blink of an eye. In front of him was a vast sea of stars. "Oh my God! Oh my God! What am I seeing?" In the chamber of the 18 bronze figures, whenever his sense of danger was so intense it meant that he was going to be eliminated. Why was he there? The crowd had yet to recover from the shock. An extremely solid square tablet seal appeared above Tang Tian's head. The soundless blue quickly spread over Tang Tian's body. In the blink of an eye, the peacock armor had already covered him. At this time, he didn't care whether others would find out that he was an honorable Martial Alliance member. Today's battle meant death if he lost. Although Hua Rong did not take Ling Su seriously, he was cunning and suspicious by nature, so he did not attack wildly like Hua Sha. The brass rod in his hand was as fast as lightning. "If that's all you've got, you're dead meat." Everyone was dumbfounded. His arms were so numb that he could barely feel them. "This fellow is dangerous. Bloodline?" Tang Tian was unsure. His heart had an instinctive sense of danger, like dark clouds surging in from all directions. Everyone was in disbelief. Their faces were lifeless as they unconsciously exclaimed in surprise. The scene that had just happened had completely driven them into madness. Looking at Hua Sha struggling to get up from the ground, covered in dust, it could be seen that his fall just now was a solid one. Hua Rong's face darkened. His brass rod was extremely fast, and the rod aura that he wielded was as thin and transparent as a cicada's wings. But today, his ever-victorious rod skills met with stubborn resistance. Hua Sha's fierce gaze revealed a cruel smile. His mountainous body actually started to shrink at a speed visible to the naked eye. Cries of surprise like this suddenly exploded in the crowd of onlookers from afar. Today, he finally met someone who could match him in the field that he was most proud of. This was not the first time Tang Tian felt such a strong sense of danger. Boom! If he couldn't even win this fellow, how could he challenge Xia? Hua Sha's eyes widened, his heart filled with shock. This was the first time he had encountered a martial artist who could compete with him in terms of strength. And the fellow in front of him, his physique was too deceiving. But this scene happened right in front of him. Tang Tian swung his arm, trying to get it to regain its senses as he stared at Hua Sha. That fellow was definitely not any better than him. But, if he were to strike again, he would definitely be injured. The peacock had been nourished by Tang Tian's silver martial spirit for this period of time, and had regained some of its former glory. Tang Tian felt that his entire body was enveloped by a lively true power, and the originally sensitive touch extended far away. How was that possible? The intense pain instead made him more ferocious. Hua Sha roared, his left fist pounded hard on his chest, his right leg suddenly exerted strength, and he charged towards Tang Tian. Tang Tian's expression changed. The instinctive sense of danger was so strong that the true power in his body was churning uncontrollably. A bloodthirsty glow surfaced in his eyes, and his open mouth became more and more sinister. This attack, Hua Sha did not hold back at all. Now that he was forcefully blocked, he did not feel good either. He retreated 7 to 8 steps before regaining his balance. The 600 caddy mace in his hands swung up. A powerful treasure, its own strength and martial spirit, could be shared with the martial artist. Bam! If someone had told him before that there was someone faster than him on Phylan's star, and that this person was a nobody, he would never have believed it. The limestone slabs within a radius of 5 feet around Tang Tian turned into fine powder. How long could the two use last? Tang Tian was dumbstruck. Such fast spear skills. Hua Sha's heart. Look! Ling Su! Suddenly someone screamed from the crowd. Although Tang Tian's strength surprised Hua Sha, but he grinned. Both his arms went numb. Tang Tian groaned, his eyes wide open in anger, the horse stance that looked like it was about to fall apart, but he stood firm. But a huge force came, his feet sank, and the sole of his feet sank into the limestone slabs. Shock flashed across Hua Sha's pupils. Hua Sha only felt a huge force coming from his left leg, and his entire body was shoved up by the strong force. When Tang Tian finished turning around, Hua Sha had already crawled up from the ground. As long as they did not provoke a terrifying fellow like Zia, the two of them could do whatever they wanted. With the armor on, Tang Tian's courage grew, and with a roar, facing Hua Sha's mace, Tang Tian lowered his waist into a horse stance, and used a great monument palm. The Hua brothers' glorious victory as expected did not happen, and the expected one-sided situation did not happen either. Tang Tian, who was sticking close to the ground, his feet in front, his body leaning backward. His legs drew out 2 streaks of snow-white light, crisscrossing in the air, like a pair of open scissors. Huarong was shocked and suspicious. In terms of strength, the godlike youth had never been afraid of anyone. In the blink of an eye, the Hua Sha in front of Tang Tian shrunk from 1.95 meters to 1.6 meters. Everyone's gaze instinctively turned to Ling Su and Huarong. Moreover, Tang Tian wanted to win. These 2 words suddenly appeared in a few people's minds, but immediately after, they felt that this thought was too ridiculous, and immediately threw it to the back of their minds. The 2 little fellows only managed to hold off the Hua brothers' victory? That was still far from it. How is it possible? How could he defeat Hua Sha? But, such 2 strong people were forcefully held off by 2 17 to 18 years old nameless children. Hua Sha seemed oblivious. That pair of beast-like eyes stared fiercely at Tang Tian. He did not conceal his murderous intent and rage. He was actually injured. And there was the armor. This was the true strength of the honorable martial alliance. Hua Sha stared at Tang Tian in front of him. He was ugly and fierce to begin with, and now with a gloomy face, he looked even more terrifying. Half of the trousers on his left calf was sliced off, a terrifying scissor-shaped wound, extended along the calf bone to both sides. Fresh blood flowed out of the wound, snaking down the calf, and soaked his left sole. Dong, dong, dong. Almost instantly, Tang Tian made a judgment and growled, "Peacock! But maybe victory? I'm not seeing things right. I must be seeing things." The great monument palm print above Tang Tian's head showed cracks and shattered with a ping. His great monument palm print was extremely hard, and had never been broken before, but today it was forcefully shattered. Fast as lightning, this was one of the things he was most proud of. Compared to Hua Sha, his strength was far behind, but compared to speed, Hua Sha was also far behind. Even among the top 50 martial artists on Phylan's star, there were many who were stronger than him, but those who were faster than him could be counted on one's fingers. The exclamations gradually quietened down. People suddenly realized they needed to start re-examining this battle that they originally thought had no suspense. The terrifying low howl made everyone's heart go numb. A deep earthy yellow light enveloped the mace in an instant, including Tang Tian. A whole radius of 50 feet was within the range of Hua Sha's attack. Such a collision of pure strength, there were almost no tricks to speak of. Ling Su, where did this fellow come from? Suddenly, a sound similar to a strong heartbeat entered Tang Tian's ears. Tang Tian could not help but be stunned. What was this? As he followed the sound to find the source of the sound, his expression changed slightly. The spectators became excited. 20 moves? 50 moves? Woo woo woo. The sound of a heavy object falling to the ground came from behind. It was a pity that this was a good opportunity for an additional attack. Tang Tian quickly regained his composure. It was already not easy for him to make Hua Sha suffer a loss in the first encounter. Tang Tian was very clear, the battle had just begun. Tang Tian suppressed the shock in his heart. His body shook slightly. The dust on his body bounced into the air, forming a human shape, and dissipated. Only then did he slowly stand up straight, exhaled a long breath, but his eyes were cold. These were the Hua brothers. They were able to fight their way into the top 50 of Phylan's star, the top elites on this planet. They could do whatever they wanted on this planet. In this tiny black mountain city, they could only tremble under their feet. Originally, he thought that this mission was just a formality. Hua Rong and the rest had long qualified to leave Phylan's star. With his and Hua Sha's strength, it was definitely not a problem to get a seat on the Onyx Soul Car outside. But once they left Phylan's star, although they could earn more, the risk was also higher. It was nowhere as comfortable as Phylan's star. Chapter 145. Hua Sha's strength and speed had reached a shocking level, but his martial techniques were not as strong as his speed and strength. If before the blue peacock shattered, Tang Tian had not thought of a way, then he would be in real danger. But this was not enough. Hua Sha's strength was twice as strong as before, and what was more dangerous was, this fellow's speed had also become rather shocking. The intuition that he had always been proud of was actually useless in that attack just now. It was not that he did not give up on the battle, but he did not give up on victory. Tang Tian's physical body was definitely unable to withstand such a terrifying attack. From the appalling peacock armor, Bing knew that the blue peacock was at its limit. Too strong. Almost at the same time that Tang Tian flew out, Hua Sha's figure disappeared again. In his panic, he had no time to react, and could only cross his arms in front of his chest. The attacks on his back did not slow down, but the eyes that were curled up in his arms suddenly opened. He thought of a way. Hua Sha smiled slightly. Good eyesight. Dwarf blood meridians. He silently counted the attacks on his back, and adjusted his breathing. When the 28th mace touched his back, he suddenly stretched his body. The current power system was beyond recognition. There were too many contents that he was unfamiliar with, but how to dig out potential was the field that he was most proficient in. The strength of the dwarf blood meridians surprised him. Tang Tian's vision blurred again, and it was exactly the same as before. Almost in an instant, Tang Tian did not have time to make a blocking posture. The terrifying power crashed hard into his arm, and his entire body flew out like a sandbag. Finally unable to withstand it, Hua Sha seemed to see the Tang Tian who had lost his protection, and was blasted into a pile of minced meat. The bloodthirsty light in his eyes intensified. His mouth full of teeth were all covered in blood. Bang bang bang! His heart was still filled with the desire for victory, even in such a hopeless situation. The mace smashed heavily on his back. His vision almost turned black, and he felt that his back was almost broken. However, he knew that this was his only chance. Enduring the sharp pain, his body was as soft as noodles. Borrowing the momentum, he rolled back towards the mace, and at the same time, hooked his leg backwards. Tang Tian was the youth with the most potential he had ever seen, but Tang Tian clearly did not realize how great his potential was. In Bing's eyes, a trace of anxiety and worry flashed past. Tang Tian felt like he had been hit head-on by a wild beast. His vision darkened and he was sent flying. Tang Tian struggled to hold on. Every time the staff struck him, He felt like his body was about to fall apart. However, he knew that if he gave up, he wouldn't stand a chance at all. Bing was an instructor. He had seen many of these so-called geniuses, but in the end they squandered their time and talent and became mediocre. But no one noticed. Unknowingly, Tang Tian had been hit more than 20 times. The faint blue peacock armor was now in tatters. The power of every blow was terrifying, and the feather armor was shattered and scattered. The battle entered a one-sided rhythm. Tang Tian was like a ball that was constantly being hit. Hua Sha was so calm and unruffled. The terrifyingly heavy mace in his hands was as light as a feather, and he waved it around like he was swatting a fly. Although Tang Tian tried to dodge at the last moment, but he still could not avoid it. He was like a puppet that was lifted up and flew into the sky. Although he had the protection of the armor, Tang Tian was still unable to escape. He felt a sweetness in his throat, and was about to spit out a mouthful of blood. Ever since Hua Sha activated the dwarf blood meridians, Tang Tian did not even have a chance to retaliate. Hua Sha's attacks were like a storm, so dense that it was terrifying. He did not even give him a chance to breathe or think. A continuous 20 blows, and with every blow, Tang Tian had to endure immense pain. He curled his body and endured it forcefully. After suffering 20 blows, Tang Tian did not suffer for nothing. He discovered Hua Sha's weakness, martial technique. Suddenly, his vision blurred. His hand tightened and a hand grabbed his right hand. Moreover, this fellow did not lack battle intelligence. Although he looked unreliable normally, but Tang Tian who entered battle mode had quick reflexes. That blow just now, he was injured. But Tang Tian knew that the situation was dire. Hua Sha's attacks would definitely follow, and would not stop here. Tang Tian's pupils widened. Tang Tian's eyes locked onto Hua Sha, but he felt increasingly uneasy. Tang Tian was facing a formidable enemy, and did not dare to slack off. Suddenly, his vision blurred, and Hua Sha disappeared. Dwarf blood meridians. What a weird name. Hooked. With Bing's eyesight, he found a few places that Tang Tian could use and improve, but he did not intend to remind Tang Tian. Bing watched the battlefield quietly. He took in Tang Tian's sorry figure, and Hua Sha's dwarf blood meridians surprised him. In their era, the exploration of power was far from what it was today. The current power system had too many new areas that he was not familiar with. The frail figure and the faint smile on Hua Sha's face were filled with an awe-inspiring power. Be careful, that's the dwarf blood meridians. Mu Lei's exclamation came from behind. His voice was trembling, with a strong sense of panic. Tang Tian, who was just sent flying, swallowed the fresh blood that rushed to his throat. His body curled into a ball and he roared, "Peacock!" His martial techniques were not strong. How could he make use of this weakness? Such a strong person, they could not even think of resisting. So strong. The shrunken version of Hua Sha was like a different person. The hideous face also became delicate and refined, the bulging muscles disappeared, and in its place was a well-proportioned and even somewhat frail figure. No matter what, Tang Tian could not connect the refined Hua Sha in front of him with the barbaric Hua Sha just now. Tang Tian stared at Hua Sha, his face dark, his mind working quickly. But he did not make a move, even though Tang Tian looked so pathetic, like he could die at any time. He was still waiting for Tang Tian's counterattack. Tang Tian casually wiped the blood stain from the side of his mouth. His gaze locked onto Hua Sha, his mind desperately trying to think of a way. The somewhat frail hand picked up the mace lightly. The double-headed mace that was more than 1.8 meters was taller than Hua Sha in front of him, but the 600 catty double-headed mace was as light as a straw in Hua Sha's hands. This strange and unfamiliar name made Tang Tian, for the first time, feel the power of the blood meridians directly. How is it? Is this power stronger than just now? But Hua Sha did not intend to let Tang Tian think slowly. Tang Tian's back was in severe pain. His entire body was like a falling meteorite, smashing into the limestone slabs with a whistling sound. No one would have thought that even in such a desperate situation, Tang Tian still did not give up. If it was said that pure power was not enough to make people fearful, then the perfect combination of power and speed made Hua Sha's danger level rise exponentially. How to fight? At a speed so fast that they could not catch, Hua Sha would always appear in the air beside Tang Tian like a ghost. Tang Tian, who made everyone's eyes light up just now, did not even have a single counterattack. His exertion was not sufficient. He should be practicing the hammer skills, but the use of true power was not very good. Tang Tian's face appeared out of nowhere, suddenly appeared in front of him, grinning at him. In the next moment, he appeared beside Tang Tian, the double-headed mace in his hands, struck fiercely on Tang Tian's waist. The process of potential turning into ability was always accompanied by pain, failure, and struggle. Without these, potential would forever be potential. In midair, the thin and weak Hua Sha made a nimble turn and landed on the ground, a faint smile on his face. The double-headed mace in his hands was still swinging like a windmill. Compared to his shocking power and speed, his martial techniques were indeed much weaker. If Hua Sha's martial techniques were equally strong, then this battle, Tang Tian would definitely have no chance of winning. Because this was a confident, unyielding, and ambitious fellow who hated failure. Even if he fell into a predicament, he would never sink, never stop resisting, never stop struggling. Without thinking, the leg hooked onto the mace suddenly exerted force, and like a snake, he swung behind him. Tang Tian's current ability was not strong enough, but it was already starting to shine. The peacock feathers behind him spread out, like a peacock spreading its tail. So fast. Poof! That was an astonishingly huge treasure trove. Hua Sha saw Tang Tian curled up into a ball, and was finally blasted away by him, and was instantly overjoyed. Tang Tian curled up into a ball, his vital parts were tightly protected, and there was almost no place for him to strike. Bang! Tang Tian was completely in a passive situation. Hua Sha's speed was too fast for him to catch. The powerful attacks made him even more miserable. He could only curl up into a ball like a hedgehog and forcefully endure the attacks. 25, 26, swoosh. The spectators were all pale. They finally understood what was Phylan's Star's top 50. Tang Tian was thinking hard. There must be a chance. There must be a flaw. There must be hope. Young man, if you can find a way, you can win, you can definitely go further. Bing tried his best to calm himself down. He believed that Tang Tian would definitely not give up. But Hua Sha did not have the slightest bit of carelessness. The attacks came wave after wave, without any pause. The mace brought along a strong sound of wind, and smashed onto the surface. A blurry figure suddenly appeared in Tang Tian's vision. Hua Sha's voice traveled into Tang Tian's ears. Tang Tian, who was lying on the ground, struggled to get up. He stared fiercely at Hua Sha, a trickle of blood trickling down from the corner of his mouth. The cold feeling from his feet made Tang Tian ecstatic. The scene in front of him was so strange, so uncoordinated, but no one could laugh, including Tang Tian. Especially when Hua Sha's frail wrist flipped lightly, the heavy mace spun in his hands like a windmill. Bing chanted silently in his heart. His deep gaze shone with anticipation. But, like other geniuses, all the potential had to be continuously excavated, squeezed, before it could possibly become an ability. Otherwise, they could only forever stay in that unknown deep mountain, quietly sleeping. Chapter 146. Boom! The star sea vanished in an instant, while the tip of Ling Su's spear was enveloped in a dazzling silver glow. Hua Sha's heart was thumping wildly. The Whitebird vortex had disrupted his vision, while Tan Tue blade had attracted his attention. Hua Sha was shocked and suddenly exerted strength. The hand that was freed faced these white vortexes, and pierced straight into the ground. Poof! Different from Tang Tian's wretched state, Ling Su's strength was out of everyone's expectations. Tang Tian sat on the ground, panting desperately. He could not believe it. He won when this spear passed through the star sea. The entire star sea drew out countless rays of silver flowing light, and sank into Ling Su's spear tip. Thump! Hua Sha had thought of all kinds of Tang Tian's reactions, such as escaping, but he had never thought that Tang Tian would actually take the initiative to close the distance between them. Hua Sha quickly understood Tang Tian's intention to entangle his hand, and then his advantage in speed could not be used. The whitebird vortex that was rushing over, with a strong rotation, there were many of them. Hua Sha's body was like a turbulent sea wave. He could not stabilize his body at all. Tang Tian's entire body instantly lit up with a dazzling blue light. The light was so dazzling that one could not look straight at it. Countless rays of blue light shot out from Tang Tian's body, like a rainstorm, engulfing Hua Sha, who was just inches away. Compared to the stalemate on Ling Su's side, the situation on Tang Tian's side was obviously more eye-catching. Hua Sha's heart trembled. One must know that his true power was much more vigorous than Tang Tian. By right he should be able to block it easily. But within Tang Tian's true power, there was an extremely sharp force. It actually broke through Hua Sha's true power that was wrapped around his palm. This was Wait a minute. Where is he? His eyes suddenly flashed a trace of ruthlessness. With a roar, he gathered all the strength in his body and pulled Tang Tian into his bosom with his right hand. At the same time, he drew in his abdomen and arched his back. With his left hand protecting his vitals, he used his body to ram into Tang Tian. From beginning to end, Ling Su's attacks gave off a lukewarm feeling. No matter how his opponent attacked, he just kept unleashing sea after sea of stars. It looked like an ordinary stab, and when it was thrust out, there was not the slightest whistling sound, but the surrounding specks of starlight were attracted to the spear tip. Warsaw was very experienced in battle. He immediately realized that his situation was very dangerous. His opponent was very good at close combat, and he could always predict in advance. It would be terrible if they were to remain in such a passive position. He felt a sharp pain in his left palm, as if he had been cut twice by a knife. The corner of Hua Sha's eyes twitched. This grab missed. Sand! Hua Rong saw Hua Sha falling face up and cried out in grief. His eyes turned red and he roared, "I'm going to kill you!" The head of the first branch gazed at the scene. He almost could not believe his own eyes. Ling Su was actually able to contend against Hua Rong. Suddenly, his heart was filled with regret. The one they let go was actually a super strong fighter who could fight his way into the top 50 of Phylan's star. Tang Tian's breathing was heavy, his mind was blank, he did not even have the strength to move a finger. Seeing that his hand was about to touch Tang Tian's shoulder, suddenly, from the corner of his eyes, there seemed to be something below him. Before he could react, a puff of white air mass rushed up from below. Opening. Hua Sha was taken aback. These white balls of air were extremely fast, like a flock of white birds, suddenly rushing towards his face. His eyes were completely blocked. Like a wooden stake, Hua Sha fell on her back. Hua Sha's strength was too great. With a full pull, Tang Tian could not even stabilize his body. Seeing that both parties were about to collide, a glint flashed past Tang Tian's eyes. Hua Sha did not expect that he would actually be at a disadvantage. Tang Tian's attack came and went like a ghost. There was no trace to follow. And it was fast. Not just pure speed, but the rhythm was fast. There was no time to think about it now, the final juncture. The third type. But close combat, you are too naive. The scene was spectacular. Ling Su's face was as determined as a rock. His orange-red eyes seemed to have something breaking out of the cocoon of flames. He shouted solemnly, "Righteous origin heart." These two words had just surfaced in his mind, Suddenly, 2 rays of cold light went straight for Hua Sha's chin, Tan Tue blade. Hua Sha's expression changed slightly, the raging true power, like a tide, drilled into his body. Luckily, Hua Sha had already sensed the peculiarity of Tang Tian's true power from the Tan Tue blade earlier, and was unusually vigilant this time. So when Tang Tian's palm imprinted on his waist, he was already prepared to block the crane body energy. Time seemed to have stopped. When the light dissipated, 2 entangled figures, like statues, appeared in front of everyone. A palm was imprinted on his right waist. Heavenly dragon energy. Those martial artists who had lost to Ling Su now realized they did not lose unjustly. Ling Su's spear skills were displayed to the fullest. Today, everyone witnessed Ling Su's true strength with their own eyes. A spear pierced out. Damn it! Hua Sha's expression changed slightly. He suffered a huge loss in the first exchange. It left a deep impression on him. His empty left hand was prepared to slap towards them, when suddenly a huge force came from his right hand. Hua Sha's body swayed. Both parties strangely fell into a stalemate again. Tang Tian could feel Blue Peacock's emotions, excitement, pain, anticipation. Half a step away from him, Hua Sha stood frozen on the spot, his eyes wide open. His entire body was pierced with faint blue feathers, like a hedgehog. There were also countless bloody holes, with fresh blood flowing out. Faced with Tang Tian's sudden attack, Hua Sha was caught off guard. Ling Su took a step forward, raised his spear and pierced straight towards Huarong. The aura of this spear, from nothing to something, instantly rose to the extreme. This was superb spear skills. Hua Sha was shocked. He hurriedly exerted force with his right hand, stabilizing his body, hoping to pull his body away. However, what he did not expect was, his true power first trembled, like the strings of a zither being plucked. The true power in Hua Sha's body trembled. Not good. Hua Sha's expression changed instantly. He did not expect. Tang Tian actually had a second type of energy. Damn it! Ling Su was actually this strong? Hua Sha laughed coldly in his heart. Without hesitation, he let go of the double-headed mace, flipped his wrist, and similarly grabbed onto Tang Tian's arm. The other hand grabbed towards Tang Tian. At such a close distance, the advantage of great strength could be fully displayed. After activating the dwarf, his strength doubled. As long as he could grab hold of any part of Tang Tian's body, he could tear Tang Tian apart with his bare hand. He could feel his opponent being pulled by him, his body swung away, and at this moment, Tan Tue's blade aura also arrived like lightning. Hua Sha's left palm was enveloped with true power, and blocked these 2 Tan Tue blades. In the endless sea of stars, every star was a cold aura pointed out by Ling Su's spear tip. Phylan Star's position in the top 50 did not fall from the sky, but was earned by his own blade and spear. He was very clear of his own weaknesses, and was equally adept at displaying his strengths. Not good. Turbulent true power and powerful strength suddenly exploded. Peacock. Tang Tian's roar was like a sudden clap of thunder. His face was still filled with disbelief. Hua Sha felt as though there was a bomb at the right side of his waist. It exploded. But at this moment, his eyes suddenly flashed a piercingly cold ray of light. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the spear tip sprinkled out spots of cold aura in the air. The cold aura was like the sea of stars, layer upon layer. Huarong's brass rod was forcibly blocked by this sea of stars. No matter how Huarong's moves changed, Ling Su turned a blind eye to it. He just continuously brandished out sea of stars one after another. Huarong was once again entangled by this sea of stars. He was actually in a stalemate with Huarong. Hua Sha had enough confidence. He had already tested it earlier. Tang Tian's strength was not his match at all. Dong. Without waiting for him to recover, that burst of true power exploded without any warning. The silver martial spirit that was burning to the extreme spewed out streaks of beautiful silver flames. These silver flames all entered the blue peacock martial spirit. The blue peacock martial spirit was rapidly changing. Even at the risk of being injured, he wanted to disrupt Tang Tian's rhythm. His sprinkling speed became even faster. He did not spend any energy to contend with Hua Sha, but in an instant, he channeled all his true power into the blue peacock. Shiratori whirlpool. The silver light, cut across the horizon, dazzling, everyone subconsciously closed their eyes. Those who did not close their eyes in time saw a vast expanse of whiteness. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Ling Su's true power was not as good as Huarong's, and he had not activated his blood meridians, but he was not at a disadvantage, all because of his spear techniques. It was the first time Huarong encountered such spear techniques, and he actually had no way to deal with it. There was almost no connection between the moves. It was like moving clouds and flowing water, one move after another, tiring him out. Tang Tian, who had recovered a bit of strength, struggled to pull his arm out from Hua Sha's hand. His entire arm was bruised. This guy's strength was too terrifying. That's right, without speed, then use strength, absolute strength. What followed was definitely close combat. In the stalemate, Huarong activated his blood meridians. His blood meridians were different from Hua Sha, called the winged human blood meridians. His originally rather astonishing speed suddenly increased dramatically. The rod's shadow could not be seen clearly, only a curtain of light could be seen. The light dissipated, and the field of vision gradually returned to normal. Just when everyone thought Ling Su would be like Tang Tian, beaten back to his original form, Ling Su actually unknowingly turned back. After getting close, Tang Tian suddenly realized, against Hua Sha's astonishing speed earlier, his instincts that were almost useless suddenly became sensitive again. As one weakened and the other strengthened, the rhythm of the battle fell back into Tang Tian's hands. A few dazzling rays of the blade crisscrossed in the air, and suddenly lit up in Hua Sha's field of vision. Hua Sha's body swayed uncontrollably. The palm that was initially about to grab Tang Tian was also knocked away. On Ling Su's face, an indomitable determination surfaced. The current him was like a different person holding the silver spear. The rays were boundless, like a deity descending to earth. Huarong's chest had a basin-sized wound. It was completely penetrated. The shape was horrifying. Everyone stared blankly at Tang Tian, dead silent. Chapter 147. Yaya's eyes were like the stars in the night sky, twinkling, slipping away, disappearing without a trace. In the next second, it appeared beside Hua Sha's corpse, its little hands grabbing onto Hua Sha's corpse, spreading its legs and dragging Hua Sha with all its might, sprinting towards Huarong. Black and dense, like the tide. Voices filled with panic in the silence were unusually piercing. Yaya, go drag those two dead men back too, Tang Tian said quietly. He's fine. Just exhausted. Mu Lei's voice came from where Ling Su was. Don't touch him. Damn it. Ling Su was like a wooden stake, falling with a loud bang, raising a cloud of dust. Mrs. eyes were full of determination, as if something was flashing. With Gu and Xiong and Great Elder joining hands, countless practitioners began to appear at the end of the street. Suddenly, Mu Lei stood up and stared furiously at the street in the distance. Countless stars were spinning in front of Tang Tian, this bastard. Gu and Xiong's eyes were filled with madness. He gritted his teeth and said, "Gather all the men, let's take this chance and get rid of them." Gu Wu was shocked by Gu and Xiong's words. "You're crazy. They can even get rid of the Hua brothers." Gu and Xiong's face was ashen, his limbs icy cold. He did not wish for Great Elder to get Gu Shui, but the outcome before his eyes was even harder for him to accept. If Great Elder got Gu Shui, it was only to strengthen his branch in the future, but the conflict between him and Gu Shui was impossible to reconcile. "Teacher, I did it, a name that floated in the legends. Yaya, you should learn to speak," Tang Tian said weakly. Ouch, ouch, ouch. She did not lose her composure and suddenly said loudly, Uncle Moo, bring them away. Gu Shui stabilized her emotions. This period of suffering made her grow up rapidly. She began to understand that grief and despair would not be of any help to her situation. She took out a bottle of ointment that she had never seen before and began to apply it on Tang Tian. Her movements were clumsy. Shut up! Gu and Xiong roared angrily. He was like a cornered beast. When they recover, we're dead. Will Gu Shui let you off? How could this godlike young man die here? You have a big dream, you want to go and find your Qian Hui. Yaya? Bastard. Are you okay? Clang, 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 clang. Gu Wu was dumbstruck and said with a trembling voice, He won. Whether it was worship, reverence, or fear, no one could deny their strength. Everyone present thought without hesitation that this was a battle with a great disparity in strength. Tang Tian and Ling Su had no chance of winning, not even in theory. The only thing that everyone was interested in was how long they could last, and how stunning the Hua brothers' performance would be. Tang Tian felt a cool breeze on his back, and it was very comfortable. After the big battle, his tensed nerves relaxed. Fatigue and tiredness surged in like a tide. Tang Tian actually fell asleep. Tang Tian stuck his face to the ground, which was full of mud, and laughed foolishly. He did not know how to describe his feelings, and did not know how to celebrate this hard-earned victory. He had no strength left. Mu Lei had heard this voice before. It was Tang Tian's spirit general. Mu Lei clenched his teeth and pounced towards Tang Tian. Go! Gather everyone! Gu and Xiong's killing intent was revealed. They have killed the Hua brothers, and are already a spent force. This is their weakest moment. Dewey, you hold Mu Lei back. If we don't kill them today, all of us will have to die. I will go look for Great Clan Elder now. If he doesn't want to die, he has to join hands with us. In the dead silence, only Ling Su's whispers could be heard, drifting in the wind. Yaya's small physique, but his strength was much greater than Tang Tian imagined. After dragging a few steps, Yaya started to jog. Yaya was like a boat hauler, shouting a rhythmic tune, jogging all the way, quickly dragging Tang Tian towards the ruins. Passing by a piece of rock, Yaya nimbly jumped over it. Poor Tang Tian, his head bounced off the rock. Tang Tian, who was sprawled on the ground, was rather open-minded. Mu Lei immediately reacted, but Mu Lei saw the endless stream of martial artists at the end of the street, and his face changed. Almost instantly, he understood Great Clan Elder and Gu and Xiong's intention. They wanted to make a comeback while Tang Tian and Ling Su were weak. But no one spoke. Everyone hugged their heads, and looked at the messy street in disbelief. They won, these two brats won. Someone hugged his head with both hands, and stared blankly at the scene. His face was pale, as though he was shocked. Won? They really won. Seeing the martial artists closing in, their faces were filled with madness and ruthlessness. Missy, these people are crazy. If they did not succeed, they will vent their anger on you in desperation. Rushing to Huarong's side, his other hand grabbed Huarong, and then he ran back. Or do I hope you can live? He saw a few familiar faces. Those were the experts under Gu and Xiong and Great Clan Elder. They were crazily flying along the street, and all of their faces were extremely sinister. The two parties that had joined hands had used all the chips in their hands. Soft murmurs were like a breeze, blowing past Gu Shui's heart. Dust billowed. Yaya dragged two huge fellows that were completely disproportionate to his body. His cheeks were puffed up, and his eyes were wide open, as though he was using all his strength. His tiny body actually made Tang Tian feel an unstoppable and powerful aura, causing Tang Tian to stare in bewilderment. Tang Tian was in so much pain that his entire face turned pale. Yaya pulled his hair, and dragged Tang Tian towards Gu Shui's direction step by step. Yaya dragged Hua Sha and Hua Rong to the ruins at an alarming speed. His tiny body fell onto the ground with his belly facing the sky, and panted desperately. On his back, there was not a single piece that was unscathed, and it was all bruised. There were thumb-sized bloody holes everywhere, and some had already formed scabs. That was caused by the spikes on the mace. He walked to the line that Ling Su drew. Before many people could react, Yaya dragged Tang Tian back. Tang Tian was relieved, and sprawled on the ground, too lazy to move. Idiot! Collar! Pull the collar! Gu Shui's concerned voice came from above. Gu Shui knelt on one knee, and bent over to check on Tang Tian's body. Yaya! 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 Mu Lei's vision darkened and a shadow enveloped him. His body suddenly froze and he turned back in shock. Mu Lei rushed to Tang Tian's side like the wind. The moment his hand touched Tang Tian's body, a voice rang beside his ear without warning. A tall figure appeared behind him, and blocked the light above his head. A familiar voice rang beside his ear, and Tang Tian opened his eyes. I'm fine. Tang Tian forced a smile. He felt Gu Shui's hand, helping him to remove his tattered clothes. You bastard, let go! Uncle Mu. Gu Shui used all her strength and roared at Mu Lei. Yaya, who was standing in front of Tang Tian's face, had a puzzled look and tilted her head. Gu Wu and Wei's faces turned pale. A tall and unadorned bronze figure blocked the sunlight, the deep and cold bronze luster, with the sternness and smoke of the ancient battlefield, passed through countless years, and set foot on this land. Gu Shui saw Tang Tian's back, and her face turned pale. She covered her mouth, and her eyes became misty. Tang Tian used his back to block Hua Sha's 20 strikes, and although he had the protection of the peacock armor, he still could not avoid being injured. The two of them seemed to wake up from a dream and hurried down. They have spirit nuclei on them. Tang Tian's face said, you know. The saber-toothed tiger's heavy metal feet turned and stepped on the ground, like an ancient war drum slowly beating. Very quickly, Great Elder's men also started to mobilize. He was also clear. This time they had completely offended Gu Shui and Ling Su. If they did not take the opportunity to finish them off, they would definitely die. In Black Mountain City, no one could go against Tang Tian and Ling Su. The Hua brothers actually were killed by two nameless pawns. Yaya's speed was extremely fast, and was actually not much slower than Mu Lei. That moment of dazzling blue and silver still lingered on their irises. That moment of brilliance was like a light sword piercing into their soft hearts, leaving a deep mark. But the result of this battle made everyone dumbfounded, and it was dead silent. No, absolutely not. He had put in so much effort, spent a whole 20 years, to sit in this position. How could he die so easily? Tang Tian, thank you. Yeah. Unknowingly, Yaya rushed in front of his face. It waved its little arms, making squeaking sounds, its little face excited. But that was the Hua brothers. Gu Shui heaved a sigh of relief. She was most worried that Uncle Mu would hesitate at this time. Her gaze stopped at Tang Tian, who was lying on the ground. For some reason, her heart felt warm. There was no fear, only relief. It was not that she did not know. These people were already crazy. If she fell into their hands, she would be very miserable. But a peaceful smile quietly climbed up her beautiful face. Gu Shui's face turned white. She could see the enemy's determination. This was their last attack. Quickly go! Guan Xiong suddenly shouted angrily at the two of them. Gu Wu's face turned white. Ha, very scary, right? Actually, it's okay. It's just a small problem. These injuries only look scary. I'll be fine after a few days of rest. I told you to pull my collar, SSS. This was their only chance, the only chance to survive. Gu Shui had the help of two people, then he and his branch would only have one ending, death. But it's a pity, you won't be able to see me activate my blood meridians. Tang Tian was shocked, and wanted to rush towards Ling Su, but his legs gave way, and his entire body fell to the ground. His entire body was empty, without any strength. His face hit the ground, a wave of pain. Yaya suddenly grabbed Tang Tian's hair. Its little cheeks puffed up, That pair of little eyes opened wide. Tang Tian's body was actually pulled by it, but… Chapter 148. Ever since then, he had never been on the front lines again. Bing, who was smiling, suddenly had a cold expression, and rushed out. The distance between the two sides was constantly shrinking. Dewey's speed was extremely fast. He and a few other experts of similar strength rushed at the front. They were like the arrowhead of the team. The wind whistled in their ears. All of them used their light body techniques to the maximum, skimming over the walls, stepping on the roof, advancing together. Pu. As long as one of them woke up, they would be dead. But everyone could not help but admire the two of them. To be so decisive and crazy, it was already worthy of respect. Although it was his first time seeing the real thing, but he could still recognize that the 2-meter bronze tiger head armor in front of him was the legendary mechanical weapon. A crazy decision. So strong. Even the soldiers of the Southern Cross Army era would definitely not be able to do such a terrifying thing. The bronze figure was so fast that the naked eye could not catch it. In the blink of an eye, 3 experts had died. The others did not even see how their comrades died. They did not even see clearly. As long as they rushed over, then they would win. But the feeling of the battlefield. He had never forgotten. Leader, if it is not up to standard, don't scold me. Another 2 blood flowers blossomed from the 2 of them. Even though he was far away, but he was still in awe. Regardless of the body structure, or the shape, including the minute patterns, they were all extremely realistic. He had seen countless imitations, but none of them could reach the standard in front of him. Suddenly, the mechanical martial artist on the ground raised his head. This fellow. Who exactly was he? It was so similar. The saber-toothed tiger landed on the ground, and the 3 corpses fell from the sky like sandbags, causing dust to rise and fresh blood to cover the ground. One person, no matter how powerful, could not block so many people. Hong Guang, I'll leave the mechanical martial artist to you. The rest of you cover. Dewey said angrily, although the opponent's strength was definitely not high, but at this moment, time was more important than anything else. Quickly settling it was the most important. So what if you became famous after one battle? So what if you killed the Hua brothers? You all have no chance. Countless of roaring figures were like a flood, rushing past him towards the ice-cold saber-toothed tiger. Far exceeding the number of people, the deafening roars caused Dewey's pale face to regain some color. Dewey's limbs were ice-cold, his entire body was trembling, his face was full of fear. He could not muster up any courage to resist. The next one would be him. Suddenly, a bronze figure appeared in his field of vision. Let me awaken the deep awe of that name in the world. Yes, what a good imitation. His pupils constricted, mechanical weapons. No matter how powerful the other party was, he was only one person. The dignified and solemn tiger head, the barbed joints, the sharp-curved tiger claws, Southern Cross Army, advance. A ray of light seemed to flash past the bronze tiger's eyes. Dewey's heart unknowingly tightened and subconsciously blurted out, "Be careful, Puff. Commander, I will fight well and not lose the face of our army." In the blink of an eye, he was the only one left out of the few who had pounced on him. Those bastards always told him to stay at the back with peace of mind and leave the frontline matters to them, or something. At first, he was a little worried that these bastards were unreliable. But later on, he discovered that they were doing quite well, so he was relieved and focused on nurturing new recruits. Bing looked at the figures pouncing over. His heart did not have any fear, but was slightly absent-minded. Rumble. Try my ass, it's like this, if you die, we will burn incense for you. Everyone was shocked by the scene in front of them, and also by Guan Xiong and the great clan elder's decision. Tang Tian and Ling Su had just killed the Hua brothers, which meant that with this battle, the 2 of them had entered the top 50 of Phylan's star. Under such circumstances, the 2 houses actually made a move. Were they not afraid that Tang Tian and Ling Su would wake up? This scene was no longer just terrifying, but truly cruel. Suddenly, Dewey was stunned. In his eyes, the saber-toothed tiger did not escape, did not dodge, but faced the crowd and squatted down, its bronze arms spread out like wings. But Dewey was not the least bit panicked. The standard of a mechanical engineer determined the standard of a mechanical weapon, and the standard of a mechanical weapon determined the standard of a mechanical martial artist. The standard of a mechanical engineer now was not high, and the mechanical martial artist was an even less popular profession, so the standard could be imagined. No choice, we're almost done for. Don't worry, your place will not be the main point of attack. You just have to hold on for 20 minutes, and I will rush over. How about that? If not, I will find someone else. A mechanical martial artist? The corner of Bing's mouth involuntarily curved into a warm smile. Haha, that's impossible, absolutely impossible. A ridiculous thought suddenly popped up in his mind, unless he wanted to block everyone by himself? Dewey felt that his own thoughts were too laughable, seemed like he was scared out of his wits by this brat's attack just now. Dewey was slightly surprised. Could it be that among these people, there was actually a hidden mechanical martial artist? Dewey was most proficient in assassinations. To martial artists like him, all sorts of mechanisms were their natural enemies, and their research in this field was second only to the mechanical engineers. The mechanical weapon in front of him, he could recognize it with one look. It was the classic style of the Southern Cross Army. The surging martial artists rushed towards Gu Shui and the rest with all their might. The ground rumbled, the entire Black Mountain city was shaking. Although you can't see, although the army flag is no longer flying, although there are no more lines of defense, although the glory that we created together has been annihilated in history, charge. They have no more strength left. I haven't used this move for a long time. I wonder if I'm rusty. A fresh blood flower suddenly blossomed from Hong Guang's chest without any warning. He believed this wave of anger could tear everything apart. The line of defense that was full of holes, the majestic figure that was covered in smoke, and his own broken mechanical weapon. Dewey's face turned white. The three people that died were the elites of the two families. Under their encirclement, the opponent easily killed the three of them in one move. At that time, Dewey's face did not have a single trace of blood. That was, even the name of the Southern Cross Army was slowly forgotten. Such a pity. The crazy and ruthless roar spread throughout the entire street. When the black mass of martial artists surged out from the end of the street, everyone who was watching the battle was overwhelmed with shock. Almost in a moment, it appeared behind Hong Guang. Unfortunately, Bing did not give them time to think. Almost in a moment, the figure of the saber-toothed tiger disappeared again. Kill, kill, kill. Captain, incense is very expensive. The group is very poor now. Who would have thought, after so many years, he would actually step into the battlefield again? Oh, alright, actually it was just a small-scale fight. But, at least it was considered a battle. The corner of Bing's mouth curled up slightly. He lowered his waist, squatted slightly, his body leaned forward, both his hands spread out like wings. Those enemies that were quickly approaching in his vision were like air in his eyes. It was an extremely simple method of attack, without any fanciful moves, but it had extraordinary lethality. Dewey saw with his own eyes, a martial artist, obviously blocked the fist of the saber-toothed tiger, but the bronze-colored fist, as easily as breaking a dead branch, broke the martial artist's arm and pierced through his body. But at this time, he did not hesitate and shouted loudly, "Everyone, attack! Since only I am still alive!" The saber-toothed tiger suddenly disappeared. Good! A boorish man boomed. He held a long-handled pumpkin hammer in his hand. Mechanical martial artists were most afraid of an enemy that could defeat 10 with one's strength, because the mechanical weapon was usually not sturdy. Since when did such a strong mechanical martial artist appear? The mechanical martial artist was indifferent. He did not move an inch, causing Dewey to suspect, was this a display item? How long had it been since he entered the battlefield? What was he trying to do? A few martial artists, schwa, shot up, drawing a few arcs from all directions. They pounced towards the mechanical martial artist in front of them. Let me try. The saber-toothed tiger was like an emotionless killing machine. He was unstoppable. Every time he attacked, he would definitely take a life. Regardless of whether you dodged or blocked, in front of this saber-toothed tiger, everything seemed to be futile. He reaped lives without any ripples. No one was able to withstand one of his attacks. Suddenly, from the depths of Bing's memories, that was his last battle. After that battle, he went to build the recruit barrack. The heavy saber-toothed tiger landed on the ground lightly, as though there were thick pads of meat on the soles. The cold aura intertwined in the air, whistling in all directions, like an inescapable net. The mechanical martial artists had nowhere to escape. Bing, this one, I'll leave it to you. He could not remember, he did not know when it started. The commander felt that his ability to groom recruits was not bad, and transferred him to be an instructor. Oh, wrong, there was once when the losses were severe, there was no replenishment. The commander felt that there was a need to build a recruit barrack. After that, none of the assholes were willing, and after that, he became the instructor of the recruit barracks. He became more and more outstanding, everyone praised him, and after that, the recruit barracks added a few more instructors, and he became the chief instructor of the recruit barracks. Then let me protect its glory, let me wipe away the dust that has accumulated on this name for 1,000 years. The sharp tiger claws did not have any resistance, and pierced through Hong Guang's chest. The saber-toothed tiger's figure once again disappeared. He had never forgotten those days when he followed the commander and the rest to battle everywhere. Elbow strike, fist strike, knee strike. Kill them. The fear in Dewey's heart had long disappeared. The crowd's craziness had infected him. That's right, this was their only chance. The surrounding people were like wild beasts, fighting with their lives on the line, their roars converging into a shocking wave of anger. If only the commander and the rest were here, how good would that be? Oh, you guys would definitely fight for who comes first. Yes, definitely. Commander, I'm alone? Every figure was like an arrow piercing through the air. Chapter 149. It silently pierced through the entire street, and stopped at the end of the street. The Battle of the Long Street. Phylan's star was shaken. What are you laughing at? Tang Tian turned his head, a look of confusion on his face. Did you see that? Hey, grow up, grow up. But Tang Tian's next sentence immediately dismissed it. All right, you can go to the side and enjoy your feast. With the support of 3 top-notch martial artists, the Gu family's prestige would reach a peak, and Gu Shui had the recessive snow rainbow blood meridians, and the possibility of her descendants having the snow rainbow blood meridians was extremely high. The next patriarch would bring the snow rainbow blade back to the Gu family. Bing's hoarse shout echoed in the sky, among the countless roars and roars. It was so lonely. In Tang Tian's vision, there was only a strange cross formed by green vertical and red horizontal intersecting. Tang Tian's eyesight was astonishing. He could clearly see that the saber-toothed tiger's body was charging at high speed, but it still maintained an astonishing stability, as straight as a spear. Suddenly, he was shocked. That was? Idiot! Ling Su could not stand it anymore. He rolled his eyes, carried his silver spear, and walked straight out. Behind him, the entire street was like a huge blood vessel that had been cut open. Countless of blood splattered all at once. The short walls and houses on both sides collapsed from the middle, leaving half of the smooth and neat wall base. The miserable howls were like a belated dirge, in the midst of the chaos, suddenly sounded. Southern Cross Army advance. Uncle Bing. Tang Tian looked at the back view in a daze. His heart suddenly gave birth to a trace of sourness. Gu Shui covered her mouth and chuckled. After a while, she forcefully suppressed her laughter and said, "Oh right, this year, the Gu family has 2 quotas, I have already signed you up. With your strength, you can definitely pass the starry door trials, and then you can leave Phylan's star. Chi chi chi. Blood flowed like a river, and corpses littered the ground. Bing, who opened his arms, as though he was stepping on an indomitable drum beat, rushed towards the torrent. Every time his legs stepped on the ground, he exerted great force. In just a few steps, his speed increased explosively, and his figure suddenly became blurry. The red blade and the green blade swept past, and nothing could stop them for even a moment. It was as if they were slashing through the air. The green and red cross charged into the raging torrent. The saber-toothed tiger's body suddenly lit up with a green light, and the light became brighter and brighter. "Hey, who are you scolding? How dare you use such a tone to talk to your boss? Brat, you're tired of living." Tang Tian glared angrily. Tang Tian divided the spoils of war into two equal halves, mainly the soul core and the star stone. He pushed one half to Ling Su and said, "This is your share." Just at this moment, the saber-toothed tiger's right leg suddenly stomped on the ground. This stomp was extremely heavy, and the saber-toothed tiger's foot deeply sank into the hard bluestone slabs. An astonishing power erupted. "Teacher, I miss you." The Hua brothers, as the top martial artists of Phylan's star, naturally had a lot of wealth, and the reward that they just received from the great clan elder had also benefited Tang Tian and the rest. The yearning was like a broken dam, instantly filling up Ling Su's heart. That old figure floated in front of his eyes. That stern and authoritative face was so kind, so warm. But the appearance of three top martial artists in Black Mountain City at the same time, the Gu family's reputation did not decrease, but instead increased. Everyone knew the relationship between the three of them and Gu Shui was not shallow. Gu and Xiong and the great clan elder's actions would only lead to the destruction of the two families. But to the Gu family, such a loss in exchange for the help of three top martial artists was too worth it. The temperature of the tiger's claws that swept through the air at high speed rose rapidly, and became bright red. Following that, the bright red followed along the palm, and quickly spread to the two bronze arms. Without any suspense, the other families immediately elected Gu Shui to become the clan leader, and they obediently handed over all their power. Ling Su glanced at Gu Shui as if he understood something, and then glanced at Tang Tian. The saber-toothed tiger's figure completely disappeared. Gu Shui's face flushed red. She knew that her thoughts were seen through by Ling Su, and immediately became flustered. But hearing Tang Tian's scolding, she could not help but burst out laughing. She raised her head again and smiled sweetly. "It's better to rely on myself." "Haha, yes." Tang Tian immediately became excited. All the people who witnessed this battle, in their lives, were destined to have an unforgettable nightmare. Tang Tian's loud voice came from below, and Ling Su seemed to have awoken from a dream. He calmed his emotions, rubbed his eyes, calmed his breathing, and leaped down from the roof. Once this news was spread, it immediately caused the mechanical engineers and mechanical martial artists of Phylan's star to cheer. The mechanical martial artists had finally produced a top-notch martial artist. Tang Tian saw Ling Su's expression of treating money like dirt, and was instantly stunned. "Are you sure?" However, everyone's attention was focused on Tang Tian and Ling Su. Yaya's eyes immediately emitted a dazzling radiance, and with a pop, he leaped into the air, and both his hands grabbed the spirit nucleus tightly. When he landed, Yaya looked as if he was drunk, dizzy, and had a silly smile on his face. Inside the saber-toothed tiger, Bing's face was full of tears. "Hey kid, it's time to split the loot. If you still don't come, I'll pocket it all for myself," Ling Su said with a straight face. "Teacher once said, money is the original sin of corruption." Tang Tian was shocked. "You still want to activate your blood meridians? Why, it's very dangerous. Aren't you already the clan leader now?" Especially Tang Tian. When Tang Tian heard this, he did not hesitate to keep the loot in his bag. He did not find it heavy. Tang Tian said righteously, As the boss, then let me bear these original sins. He then muttered, Anyway, I'll ask you for more when I run out of money. Carrying so many things on my body, it's so heavy, it's so annoying. Hua Sha's ability was stronger than Huarong, and since Tang Tian defeated Hua Sha, his ability and future were obviously more exciting. Tang Tian was already in the courtyard, laying out the spoils of war. Ling Su hugged his silver spear and sat on the roof in a daze. The setting sun in the distance was already covered by the mountain peak. Bing was the least valued, even though Bing's green-red cross side was shocking, but mechanical martial artists were too unpopular. And limited by the standard of mechanical weapons, it was even more difficult for mechanical martial artists to improve. In comparison, people felt that Tang Tian and Ling Su had more room for improvement, so naturally they paid more attention to them. Yaya hugged the spirit nucleus, and walked to the side shakily, her face full of satisfaction. Clang clang, clang clang. On the other hand, Yaya stared at the pile of spoils of war, its two chubby little hands rubbing its chest continuously. Subconsciously following the green stone slabs, his gaze extended to the distance. A tall bronze figure appeared in his vision. Aya, why are you so stubborn? Tang Tian could not help but say. Everyone had gone through so many trials and tribulations, their relationship was naturally different from before. Tang Tian had already treated Gu Shui as his own friend, and immediately became anxious for her. Looking at Tang Tian's happy look, Gu Shui only smiled quietly. Using his own strength to eliminate 262 martial artists, this was definitely the strength of the strongest martial artist on Phylan's star. Furthermore, it was an extremely unpopular mechanical martial artist. The loot this time was extremely rich. Ling Su did not care about him, and only left him a back view. The saber-toothed tiger spread out its cross-back view, as though it was from ancient times. Tang Tian, who was sleeping soundly, was woken up by some noise. He took out a few items, and Ling Su's gaze could not move away. Teacher, how good would it be if you could scold me again? Ling Su hugged his silver spear, and sat down, but he was obviously not very interested in the loot. The beautiful future made everyone choose to obey Gu Shui. Pu. Ling Su glanced at the small mountain and said, You can help me pack it. Aha! That's great. Tang Tian was overjoyed and raised his arms and cheered. Don't you have any high-quality goods? Ling Su asked. Tang Tian casually picked up a spirit nucleus and threw it to Yaya. Here, for you. Tang Tian stared blankly at everything that was happening in front of him. The green and red cross was like a cross scythe, quietly stabbing into tofu. Teacher, I've mastered it. He opened his eyes in a daze, and realized that his face was stuck to the ground, and the hard limestone was trembling slightly. Tang Tian immediately woke up. For the ground to tremble like this, it meant that there were many people running and trampling. On this long street, there was not a single martial artist who could still stand. In the middle of the limestone on the street, there was a straight and deep cut, from the point where the saber-toothed tiger charged to his feet. Ling Su's vision instantly became blurry. Tang Tian was stunned. You guys will have to leave eventually. A gentle smile hung on Gu Shui's face, as if this was a very simple decision. If I activate my blood meridians, I will have the ability to protect myself. Any one of these three battle achievements was enough to cause a sensation in Phylan's star. With the three of them together, it directly caused Phylan's star to explode. Needless to say, the Hua brothers had been famous for a long time, and their positions were stable. To be killed in a one-on-one battle, the opponent's ability would definitely be able to enter the top 50. Heavy metal footsteps, stepping on the mess and blood, slowly moved forward. Green and red cross scythe. The sound of cloth tearing could be heard clearly in such a noisy environment. After this battle, their wallets were immediately filled. Just star coins alone, they had more than 1,000,000, 30 grade 6 spirit nucleus, 70 grade 6 star stones. Didn't you say that if you give birth to a son, He will have snow rainbow blood meridians? Then why don't you give birth to a son, and let him protect you? Tang Tian felt that his idea was too good and laughed. After this battle, for the next 10 years, no one will dare to find trouble with you. After 10 years, he will have grown up. Leader, the things you taught me, I have not forgotten. The Hua brothers, who were in the top 50 of Phylan's star, were killed by 2 nameless youths, and a mechanical martial artist, who used his own strength, with one move, consecutively killed 262 martial artists, appeared out of nowhere. Gu Shui stared at Tang Tian's distinct face, and could not shift her gaze away. She suddenly realized that she had lost her composure, and immediately lowered her head to hide it. The continuous suffering made her quickly mature. That was the saber-toothed tiger. Among the roars and roars, Green and Red Cross was so quiet that there was no sound. Chapter 150. His gaze landed on 2 small glass bottles, each with a drop of fresh blood floating in it. One of the drops was dark red, while the other had a silver glow. The loose and thick feathers suddenly straightened, as though they were waking up from a deep slumber. They were like flowing water, flowing slowly. In the blink of an eye, the glove changed. Heavenly crane glove. Clang clang clang. Interesting. What attracted Tang Tian's attention the most were the small wings on both sides of the glove. They were shaped like crane wings, and were now folded up. Yes, some can. Gu Shui explained, some can't, like the snow rainbow blood meridians. But every blood meridian is not suitable for everyone. You can try. These 2 blood meridians are silver-ranked blood meridians that are not bad. The dwarf blood meridians can increase your strength and speed greatly, but the side effect is that it will make your body smaller. The winged human blood meridians can increase your speed greatly, and allow your movements to become more agile. Ling Su chose the pony, while Tang Tian chose the glove. Ever since his fornax gloves were destroyed, he had not found a suitable weapon. Although the blue peacock's defense was outstanding, it did not help much in attacking. Tang Tian sat beside Bing. Hey, uncle, you know how to control mechanical weapons? Tang Tian chose the dwarf blood meridians. He had a deep impression of the power of the dwarf blood meridians. If he could absorb the dwarf blood meridians, his strength would immediately increase by a level. How much? Tang Tian was stunned and asked subconsciously. Gu Shui panicked. Why are you like this? This power caused Tang Tian's spirit to be roused. He started to communicate with the martial spirit of the star treasure. Unexpectedly, he did not spend any energy, and established a connection with the martial spirit of the glove. Gu Shui was extremely nervous. He stared at Tang Tian, not daring to blink. Ling Su's face congealed. He had been in Phylan's star for so long, and his understanding of blood meridians was much more than Tang Tian, so he knew, swallowing blood meridians had a certain level of danger. Pretty good. Tang Tian chuckled. Then let me try. Nonsense. Bing rolled his eyes. If the instructor doesn't know, how can he teach others? The current Tang Tian had a much deeper understanding of power than before. True power poured into the gloves. Ka, the sluggish feathers started to flow. Tang Tian felt that the movement of the feathers on the glove was somewhat familiar. The glove was made of bronze, and its design was very unique. It was formed from layers of fine feathers, and it was abnormally thick and even a little bloated like a large water bag. Holding it in his hand, he could feel its weight. Tang Tian tried to put on the gloves. The inside of the gloves was unusually comfortable. Tang Tian felt as if his hands were wrapped in a ball of water. Bloodlines can be absorbed? Tang Tian's eyes widened. Ling Su shook his head. I won't try. Not yet. Bing replied straightforwardly. He did not wait for Tang Tian to ask and changed the topic. How's your blue peacock? Tang Tian was instantly interested. Before he could react, his crane body suddenly moved. Not knowing if it was because of the crane body energy, the martial spirit was very close to Tang Tian. Tang Tian also realized that the aura of the glove martial spirit made him feel extremely comfortable. Ah, how do you feel? Gu Shue's voice was filled with nervousness. Tang Tian's face was fierce. Without saying a word, he barged into the chamber of the bronze figures and began to vent. I didn't expect these two rascals to have so many star treasures. Tang Tian was also surprised, but he immediately laughed. Haha, these two rascals' luck is really bad. They actually didn't have any use for it. Still no reaction. Tang Tian was slightly disappointed. Seems like I'm not suitable to absorb bloodlines. Don't worry, maybe my body is special. I've already thought it through. I want to follow my teacher's path. Ling Su's eyes were filled with determination. Following my teacher's theory, focusing on the spear, not relying on external objects, and fulfilling his expectations for me. This is my mission. Tang Tian, who had suffered a heavy blow, ran to Bing. 2 million star coins. To him, this was definitely an astronomical figure. He did not have that many star coins on him. The group looked at each other. Tang Tian replied with an "oh" and swallowed the dwarf blood. The dark red dwarf blood did not have any smell of blood. Instead, it had a delicate fragrance. Tang Tian gently poured it down and swallowed it. Green-red cross scythe. Bing paused slightly and said indifferently, "A type of martial technique used to charge on the battlefield." Ling Su's pony was a treasure from Equestria constellation. It came from the same constellation as Tang Tian's soaring boots of the pony. But the quality of the pony was higher than the soaring boots of the pony. It could summon a bronze pony, and its speed was similar to Tang Tian's flamingo. It was a very practical treasure. Slap! A big palm grabbed the glass bottle. A pair of oddly shaped bronze gloves, a pony, and 2 other small glass bottles. The gloves stopped transforming. Tang Tian raised his head and swallowed the angel blood into his stomach. Just swallow it. Gu Shui was slightly nervous. Sometimes there will be some adverse reactions. That means your body is adapting to its power. You must endure it. What is this? Tang Tian was curious. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Crane body energy. Wasn't the crane body energy in his body like this? It was made up of countless layers of true power stacking up? Ling Su's expression was somewhat sluggish. Impossible. Why is there no reaction? Tang Tian's eyes lit up. Tang Tian tilted his head and asked, "Why? This is interesting. Have I seen it somewhere before?" Tang Tian tried to instigate the crane body energy again. Chi. Sharp energy gushed out from his fingertips, leaving 5 deep holes on the bluestone floor. That's right. If you're lucky, you can sell it for 2 million. Gu Shui was gloating. That's good. Ling Su was satisfied. I only train in spear technique. For us, we do not seek external help in battles. If it was a true treasure, I would not be able to use it. This little thing can save me a lot of energy. Ling Su held his silver spear as he sat on the horse. He looked like a heroic young man. He tried to instigate a strand of true power into it. 7 million star coins. Tang Tian was dumbfounded. His voice was trembling. The martial spirit of the glove was a ball of floating mist. From the outline, it seemed to have the shape of a crane. However, the martial spirit was not strong. It could be seen that it had not been nourished for a long time. After listening to Mrs. description, Mu Lei was stunned. He had never seen or even heard of such a thing. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. Tang Tian waved his hand. He had a weird look. This thing can't be fake, right? 1 minute passed. 5 minutes passed. The pitiful 18 bronze figures became the sacrifice of Tang Tian's anger. After a full 10 minutes, Tang Tian, who had vented his anger, left the chamber of the bronze figures. Ling Su took a look. It was true. What do we do? Tang Tian was hesitant. He glanced at the other glass bottle. Do you want to try that? Could it be that the dwarf blood meridians are incompatible with me? Bing gloated. 2 million star coins. How is it? Can you taste it? Is it sweet or salty? The dwarf blood can be sold for 1,000,000 star coins. The angel blood is also 700,000 star coins. With these 2 mouthfuls, 7,000,000 star coins will be gone. Gu Shui sneered. 10 minutes later, Zheng. Once he said that Ling Su seemed to have an indescribable aura. It was indeed a treasure of the heavenly crane constellation. It should be a problem with my physique. Mu Lei was unsure, but he heaved a sigh of relief. It's good that you're fine. Tang Tian could feel that his fingers had become more agile. He gently poked the limestone on the floor. Poof, he did not feel any resistance. His fingers completely sank into it. This is the dwarf blood and angel blood. The one who spoke was Gu Shui. She coincidentally came in. When she heard Tang Tian's question, she explained. You guys don't know how to collect them. I helped you collect them. Their blood meridians are also absorbed. When they die, the blood meridians will automatically gather and fuse into a drop of blood. Just 2 drops of blood. Gu Shui was obviously still angry at Tang Tian's reckless actions. She sneered. Do you know how much each drop can be sold for? Tang Tian tilted his head. He was puzzled. Tang Tian's spirit was lifted. This was definitely the most suitable treasure for him. At that moment Tang Tian was overjoyed. What's that technique called? It's so powerful. Tang Tian quickly threw the 2,000,000 star coins to the back of his head. He asked Bing curiously. At the same time, the crane body in his body started to circulate energy. Tang Tian heard a clear cry. As long as you like it. Tang Tian did not mind. He had long understood that everyone's choices were different, and there was nothing that could be forced. Time passed. How do I absorb it? Tang Tian asked Gu Shui. Don't be rash. Gu Shui shook her head. Can you teach me? Tang Tian's eyes lit up, revealing his true motive. Star treasures. Ling Su's gaze was attracted to the few items in front of him. The gloves in front of him were completely different. They looked brand new. The originally bulky gloves were tightly stuck to his skin. It looked like a thin layer. But the gloves covered from the wrist to the elbow. Mu Lei did not say anything. He just stared at Tang Tian. Ling Su did not say anything either. He stared at Tang Tian. At this moment, Mu Lei, who heard the commotion, also ran over. Gu Shui was like a life-saving straw as she hurriedly asked Mu Lei. Mu Lei's experience was plentiful, and the azure blood in his body was also absorbed. Gu Shui was surprised, but Tang Tian was happy for Ling Su. This was Ling Su finally finding his own path, and the change brought about by the breakthrough in his mental state. Ling Su had been wandering for so many years. The accumulated experience would nourish him as he broke through his mental state. It was foreseeable that Ling Su would usher in a period of rapid improvement. No feeling. Gu Shui was stunned. She reacted and exclaimed, How is that possible? Tang Tian's shrill screams could be heard from far away. It seemed that he had obtained a treasure. After communicating with his martial spirit, Tang Tian finally knew the name of the glove. If only it was a battle treasure. Tang Tian glanced at the little bronze horse. Ha 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 ha, nothing will happen. Tang Tian pretended to be relaxed and laughed. How can a godlike young man be affected by 2 drops of blood? Chapter 151. In this short period of time, the true power in Tang Tian's body had unknowingly been depleted by a quarter. But he could not care less about the depletion of true power. All his attention was attracted by Bing's words. He came out of the wooden barrel, wiped off the medicine on his body, took out a clean bandage, and started to wrap himself up carefully. These bandages were made of special materials, and were extremely durable. After wrapping himself tightly, it could help his pitiful bones bear some of the burden. He stepped into the wooden barrel at the side, which was filled with black medicine, emitting a pungent smell, and the medicine soaked his neck. But luckily the energy concentration in the recruit training camp was higher, and his progress in training true power was not slow. Tang Tian felt the scene before him change, and he was in a huge valley. The gray valley, rugged rocks, and the terrain was extremely complicated. The wind in the valley was strong, and it was hard to open one's eyes. Tang Tian had to use some strength to stabilize his body, and Bing floated beside him in the air. His face revealed a look of pain. A few large wolves that were about the same size as him, with sharp and terrifying wolf teeth, drooling and red eyes, stared fiercely at Tang Tian. Tang Tian's face changed. "Teacher, I finally have the qualifications to wear it. I understand it means to let the Meridians and Dantian starve, and then they will eat very quickly." Tang Tian extended his hand and said. Tang Tian heard and immediately checked the true power in his body, and as expected, the true power in his body had unknowingly decreased by a lot. This spear was given to him by his teacher, and was the source of his strength. After a few years of wandering, he finally started to find himself. "I still need a period of time to recover." Tang Tian was a little worried. In the battle with Hua Sha, Blue Peacock was heavily injured, and blocked over 20 attacks for him, and the last attack also greatly injured its vitality. Bing's hand gently moved, and the colorful planets in the room rotated quickly. After a moment, a gray planet stopped in front of Bing. "Teacher, Little Sue will definitely not let you down. I didn't expect you to pass the chamber of the 18 bronze figures so quickly. To be honest, this was out of my expectations." Bing looked at Tang Tian. "I originally thought that you would be tormented here for a while, so I did not arrange any new subjects for you." "Alright, let's talk about the new subject." Ling Su could still remember the way his teacher had looked at him. A few bone-gnawing wolves howled and pounced at Tang Tian like angry arrows. Tang Tian suddenly sensed something and turned his head. This was a prescription that his teacher had concocted for him when he was still alive to alleviate the burden on his body. Every once in a while, he would need to soak in it to remove the hidden injuries in his body. Ever since he started practicing this spear art, he had never stopped taking medicine. "Teacher, I can do it." Looking at himself in the mirror, Ling Su muttered to himself, his orange-red eyes filled with longing and determination. Tang Tian's hair stood on end. Without saying a word, he turned around and started running. In the time it took for him to speak, Tang Tian only had half of his true power left in his body. This level of comfort would not last long. New subject. Tang Tian's eyes lit up. His teacher sighed. "Little Sue, when I picked you up, your body was already heavily injured, your bones were already deformed, especially your spine. I massaged you every day, but there was no way to change it. This spear art has high demands on the body, and your body can't handle it. Your wrists, elbows, these joints have all been injured to varying degrees, your strength exertion has a natural defect, and most importantly, the burden it brings to your spine will make you wish you were dead. I asked Big Brother Jing Hao, and Jing Hao said it's not a big deal, just let it rest for a period of time, feed it more spirit nuclei, and it will recover. Teacher, why don't you teach me spear arts?" The young voice carried a hint of sadness. Although the chamber of the 18 bronze figures was torturous, it did allow him to improve greatly. If he did not complete the chamber of the 18 bronze figures, he would definitely not be able to cross hands with an enemy of Hua Sha's level, not to mention winning. The snow-white bandages wrapped around his body made his face flush red, and looked somewhat sick. He held the silver spear in his hand. The cold body of the spear immediately calmed his heart. Bing's sinister voice came over. Bing was like an experienced instructor, hitting the nail on the head. "Yes." Tang Tian nodded his head heavily, and said seriously and firmly, "A godlike young man will not slack off." Ling Su revealed a satisfied expression. His gaze landed on a brand new white robe on the chair. The white robe was lined with gold, the collar was upright, and nailed with 2 golden goat horns insignia. Tang Tian continuously used his martial spirit to nourish it, but the results were minimal. But what made him feel at ease was, he could feel that although the peacock's martial spirit's aura was weak, but its vitality seemed to be stronger than before. The training of true power also has a subject? Tang Tian was stunned. In his mind, the training of true power was a competition of time. Those who had the means would use star rocks to train, that way the improvement would be faster. But obviously, with his current net worth, he naturally could not be so extravagant. Ling Su was slightly agitated. He reached out his palm and caressed the white robe. His teacher's reminder before he died was still ringing in his ears. In the room, Ling Su took off his thick jacket. His entire body was wrapped in bandages, like a mummy. He lowered his head and unwrapped the bandages on his wrists. The bandages loosened round by round, elbows, shoulders, chest, waist. Bing snorted. "Don't be so full of yourself. Come, let me show you the new subject I've prepared for you." The pain gradually subsided. He felt his body regaining its vitality. His stiff joints also became soft. The prickling sensation that made him feel like needles had disappeared. After the burning sensation, what followed was unimaginable pain. It was like countless of small files in his joints, in the gaps of his bones, continuously grinding away the newly grown bone spurs. Tang Tian felt a chill in his heart. But he quickly threw this point to the back of his head. What it looked like, he completely did not care. Even if it was a beggar's clothes, he would not hesitate to wear it. The soft murmur was like a vow. "Did you discover the abnormality here? That's right, the wind here will continuously swallow your true power, and from there, it will speed up the loss of your true power. Even if you stand here without moving, the true power in your body will continue to be consumed." An hour later, his eyes that had lost focus slowly regained their vigor. Tang Tian's ears perked up, his face full of anticipation. Of course, just this is not enough. Because for a long time without the nourishment of true power, your meridians and dantian will wither. Later on, we discovered, as long as you can maintain a high-intensity exercise, your flesh power will continuously nourish your meridians and dantian. This is a deeper level of nourishment and strengthening. Because you can't practice it, the old voice said patiently. He had long learned how to wrap the bandages tightly, without affecting the flexibility of his body. So, Bing's poker face exposed a sinister smile, with a snap of his fingers. "We will give the recruits some motivation to exercise, your good partner, bone-gnawing wolf. If one day you are able to master the Justice Origin Core Thorn, you can wear it." The deformed body was slowly swallowed by the snow-white bandages. Bing opened the gray planet. It was the first time Tang Tian had encountered such a situation. He had spent the most effort on the blue peacock. Under the continuous tempering, the blue peacock's power was much stronger than before, but he did not expect that this time it would suffer such a heavy injury. Ling Su carefully wore the white robe. The white robe was very wide, covering his body tightly. His white robe was whiter than snow, his silver spear embellished with red embellishments, blue hair and orange pupils. Looking at his handsome self in the mirror, Ling Su was slightly surprised. This set of clothes looked more like a priest's uniform, and not like a martial artist's uniform. "Teacher, I will definitely work hard, really, really hard. Teacher, I beg you, please teach me," the young and stubborn voice pleaded. "Your martial techniques already do not have many flaws, but this is obviously not enough. Your problem now is your body cannot keep up with your reactions. Your martial spirit has reached the silver rank, it is still slowly improving, but your martial techniques, true power is still at a lower level. Especially your true power, the 5th level standard, is already unable to adapt to your current battles. So this time's training subject is aimed at true power." The medicinal power permeated his body. His entire body felt like it was on fire. His bones were wrapped in a ball of fire, continuously burning, as though it wanted to soften and melt the hard and unyielding bones. His mind was blank, his face pale white, the orange angry eyes lost their focus, becoming pale, his mouth unconsciously releasing sounds like a wild beast. His head looked as though it was fished out from the water, his face full of perspiration, his blue hair all wet, sticking to his head. "Teacher, I can do it. I can definitely do it." The young Ling Su raised his head and said resolutely. The young man pushed open the door and the room was filled with sunlight. "Your description is very accurate." Bing's mouth revealed a smile, but immediately became serious. "That's right. So we built this training room, called the Valley of Hunger. There is no energy here, your true power cannot be replenished here. You will soon experience what is the feeling of hunger." But this process was definitely not enjoyable. Looking at the mirror, the blue-haired, orange-eyed face full of heroic spirit, the deformed figure, the bent and deformed elbow, his thoughts drifted far away. "You also need to properly digest the gains from this battle," Bing reminded him. "Of course I have." His wrist lightly shook, the spear tip trembled, a silver-cold aura flashed in the air. True power is the foundation of all martial techniques, and the research on true power has always been our focus. Increasing the concentration of energy in the environment is the most common method. But this time we had a new discovery very quickly. When your true power is quickly consumed, your meridians and dantian will always be in a state of negative pressure. The meridians and dantian will instead be strengthened, and their efficiency in absorbing energy will become higher. Oh, relax, even if they catch up to you, you will not really die, but the pain is unavoidable. They like to bite people's joints, until they become dregs, only then will they reluctantly swallow. You can try it yourself, it feels very real. Chapter 152. Ling Su's spear techniques did not have any changes, and only continued to sprinkle out pieces after pieces of the spear-tip cold aura that formed a silver sea of stars. Bing looked at the time, a full 20 minutes had passed. Bing could not help but recall, in the recruit barracks, how many people could do this. "I never thought I would still be able to see the Ares spear of stars." Bing's voice suddenly sounded out in Tang Tian's mind. And the empty meridians and dantian instinctively wanted to absorb energy from the gale, but there was no energy in the gale. The dantian meridians and the gale, two different types of suction, seemed to be adding strength. Why is this guy dressed so handsome today? Above his head, Bing's friendly reminder came out. Luckily his body quality was outstanding, although he did not have the support of true power, but his physical strength was enough for him to run. Tang Tian used all his strength to run. The gale blew so hard that he could not open his eyes. This gale was very strange. When it brushed past his body, it would take away his body temperature, and take away the true power in his body. The faster he ran, the faster the true power in his body would be lost. This was the first time Tang Tian saw Ling Su training his spear techniques, and was immediately interested, and simply sat down on the stone bench in the corner. The moment he sat down, his buttocks trembled, his heart suddenly tightened, and only after a while did he react. He had already left the recruit barrack. His buttocks were obviously unharmed, but he felt a dull pain inside. Tang Tian was stunned. Ling Su had changed into a brand new set of clothes, and immediately looked like a rich young master, handsome and dashing. Tang Tian lowered his head to look at himself, and suddenly felt a burst of country bumpkin air. He was truly surprised. 18 minutes and 33 seconds. Bing's introduction made Tang Tian's scalp numb. He did not dare to look back, and did not dare to stop. The feeling of hunger was getting stronger, and the muscles in his legs were getting softer and softer. Mu Lei left with a long laugh. Bing was truly moved. That poker face that looked like it was painted on, the surprised expression, was unspeakably lively and funny. His thick eyebrows slid to the side, his eyes widened, and his mouth formed an oval shape. This rotation was actually caused by the thumb rubbing against the body of the gun. Tang Tian's gaze fell on Ling Su's hand that was holding the silver spear. After looking for a while, he revealed a surprised expression. Tang Tian comforted himself in his heart. Bing looked at the back view of the stumbling figure, and sighed with emotion. This fellow was always giving him more and more surprises. To be able to break the recruit camp record, what kind of ferocious people were they? The image of sharp wolf teeth biting into his buttocks appeared in his mind. Hearing this, Mu Lei was stunned for a moment before he was overjoyed. "That's great. Miss, you don't have to take this risk." Bing continued to mock and ridicule him from above. He was calm and unruffled, leisurely, with a face full of smiles. He said, "Even in our era, to have such an outstanding physique like yours, it was rare. Such exquisite finger strength." Gu Shui looked at Mu Lei's back view and used a voice that only she could hear. "Such precious time, to use it to activate the blood meridians, what a waste." To fully exert strength, it was almost impossible to avoid the spine. In any martial technique, the spine contained astonishing power. To Tang Tian, this was undoubtedly a form of torture. The feeling of his meridians being empty persisted for 10 minutes, and Tang Tian felt like a hungry demon, his chest sticking to his back. But he could not relax. The high-intensity exercise made him feel weak and tired like never before. Not only that, the strength of his shoulders, elbows and wrists, he did not use much. Ling Su actually used the strength of his fingers the most. The more he ran, the hungrier he got, and the more he ran, the weaker his limbs became. If not for the wolf howling behind him, Tang Tian would have definitely sat on the ground. But Gu Shui smiled sweetly. "Uncle Mu, don't try to persuade me. I'll tell them later, I don't intend to activate the blood meridians." Bing was startled, glanced, and immediately looked back in shock. His face could not bear to look, and muttered, "I've reminded you before, they also love buttocks. It's really good to be young man, your physique is rather outstanding." But he no longer needed to worry about the problem of true power, because the true power in his body was already empty, not a drop was left. In the courtyard, Ling Su was training his spear art. All right, this godlike young man never walked the path of sacrificing his body. Mu Lei was speechless. After a long time, he then said, "I understand." Tang Tian's face was gloomy. He angrily walked out of the room. His walking posture was a little weird, as though his buttocks were injured. Tang Tian's face turned white. His legs that were just weak suddenly exploded with a burst of power, and his speed increased sharply. "Miss, all the materials are prepared." Mu Lei wanted to say something but stopped, his face full of worry. Forcing himself to throw the image of the buttocks and the snow-white wolf teeth out of his mind, Tang Tian composed himself, and placed his attention on Ling Su's spear art. His meridians were empty. At the start, Tang Tian did not feel too uncomfortable. It felt like he had just gone through a big battle, and was a little weak. But his physical strength was not affected much. It felt a little weird. After running for a while, Tang Tian did not feel so good. The strong wind brushed past his body, and there was a faint suction force. But Ling Su's strength did not even apply it to his spine. Time passed slowly. Tang Tian's mind was blank. He only knew to instinctively run. The spine, to a martial artist, was like a big dragon. It was the source of strength. But this fellow, every one of Ling Su's spear, brought along a strong rotation. In his memory, ordinary recruits, when entering for the first time, to be able to last for 10 minutes was considered a pretty good result. Entering for the first time and exceeding 20 minutes, such a result, did he break the record? Bing started to think. After a while, a string of numbers appeared in his mind. It really makes one look forward to it. Ah! Tang Tian's heart-wrenching scream floated in the air above the valley of hunger. Tang Tian's gaze was fixed on Ling Su's 10 fingers. He then noticed, Ling Su's 10 fingers were thicker than the average person's. But such an ordinary fellow actually broke the record the first time he entered the Valley of Hunger. Oh, 10 minutes and you're already here, not bad, not bad. Bing's tone seemed to be full of praise, but Tang Tian was very clear that this fellow was definitely waiting to watch the show. Psychological shadow. This was definitely a psychological shadow. He seemed to not know fatigue, and was extremely engrossed in this kind of boring training. It was like a big mouth, greedily sucking in an empty bottle. Tang Tian's heart was indescribably shocked. Ling Su's 10 fingers were changing rhythm so fast. He actually could not catch it. In such a small range, but was able to explode with astonishing power, and the changes were so complicated, Tang Tian could not even understand it. If there really is an accident, even if they are here, they can't do anything. Gu Shui said softly. Let this godlike young lad go to heaven's road peacefully, and realize his godlike dream. How good would that be? Gu Shui smiled. He has already helped us enough. Miss Mu Lei was immediately shocked. You must not. Young Master Tang and young Master Ling are both here. If there is an accident, they can take care of you. Tang Tian's fundamental martial techniques were incomparably strong, and his understanding of force exertion was extremely deep. With one look, he could see that Ling Su's force exertion was extremely strange. His tone was filled with sorrow and reminiscence. Since this place is called the Valley of Starvation, of course the bone-gnawing wolves are also hungry. Oh, normally they would be starved for 7 to 8 days and then released. Ling Su's waist did not move an inch, both of his shoulders never opened, and the trembling of the spear was very small. Miss, are you afraid that young Master Tang will be worried? Mu Lei looked deeply at Miss Bing, who was following behind him, could not help but reveal a look of surprise on his poker face. Tang Tian was already an arrow at the end of its flight. His heavy breathing was like bellows. His advancing speed had obviously decreased, and when he jumped over a piece of rock, he even fell. If not for his physical strength being close to the critical point, Tang Tian would definitely not have such a problem. There was no end to the valley in front. He had been an instructor for a very long time, and had seen countless of talented youth. Back then, the Southern Cross Army was like the sun in the sky, and had strict requirements for recruits, which one of them was not a genius. With Tang Tian's standard and talent back then, it was impossible for him to enter the recruit barracks. Uncle Mu's expectations of me are really high. Gu Shui was startled, but she suddenly imitated Tang Tian's tone, and mischievously said, But I think so too. Oh, I forgot to tell you, although the bone-gnawing wolf likes to chew on bones, it also has a preference for the fleshy buttocks. Gu Shui suddenly raised her head and smiled. Uncle Mu, I've changed my mind. His attention was all on the bone-gnawing wolf behind him, the bone-gnawing wolf's pursuit, that craziness and stubbornness, the incessant roars, made Tang Tian tremble with fear. But Mu Lei still wanted to persuade him. Oh my God! Using the friction of the thumb to produce such a strong rotation, Tang Tian was dumbstruck. Ling Su's silver spear was made of metal. It was not light at all. The strong wind was still continuously sucking at his empty dantian. He was like a starving person, wanting to vomit but having nothing to vomit. Tang Tian did not dare to be distracted. The Valley of Starvation's terrain was rather complex. He needed to be fully focused. Such a strange way of exerting force. Before Mu Lei turned to leave, he suddenly turned back and said seriously, Miss, I believe that you will definitely activate your blood meridians. Heaven has given you so many hardships, and so much luck, it must be to forge a legend. No. Gu Shui shook her head. I intend to wait for them to leave before I try. Chapter 153. Don't tell me it changed its name? Bing was surprised. Gu Shui followed Tang Tian's finger and looked, and was enlightened. Oh, there used to be a lot of stone sculptures here, and there were quite a few of them like this, but there were too many people digging in the past, and everyone wanted to dig 3 feet into the ground, so the stone sculptures were basically destroyed. Is Tian interested in stone sculptures? This big canyon, there is a ruin inside. As the wind was strong, Gu Shui needed to speak loudly, so that Tang Tian could hear her. I don't know which era it is, there used to be adventurers who would come here, but all the valuable things have been taken away, and now it is a ruin, and no one has come here for many years. That's great. Gu Shue's beautiful face seemed to brighten up, and she said excitedly, "Then let's go! Hurry up!" Aries' Spear of Stars? Ling Su was stunned and said, "You got it wrong, it's called Pointed Sea Spear." Ah Shue. Tang Tian saw who it was and was surprised. "Why do you have time at this time? Aren't you very busy recently?" Tang Tian's shout in the wind woke Gu Shui up. Gu Shui heard Tang Tian's shout and immediately ran over. "Tian, what did you discover?" Gu Shui, who was caught off guard, screamed in the sky, but very quickly the screams turned into laughter. The wind blew past her face. Looking at Tang Tian, Gu Shui suddenly wished, if time could stop now, how good would it be? She smiled sweetly. "This is the only place in Black Mountain City that has some scenery. The Aries Spear of Stars that I have seen before, the force exertion was not like this, seems like it is a new creation." Bing muttered. "This kind of force exertion is faster and more concealed, others are unable to catch and predict. And the range is very small, the speed of the spear can be increased, and is very suitable to use the star sea. However, if that was the case, the requirement for finger strength would also reach an unimaginable level. The strength of my fingers, compared to normal exertion, is simply too small." Tang Tian was suddenly enlightened, and pretended to speak in an unfriendly tone. "Could it be that uncle did not actually teach me the true Southern Cross Army's absolute arts?" Amidst the ruins, their voices echoed. This conclusion surprised even Tang Tian himself. Calming his mind, Tang Tian sprinted at full speed. He did not know if it was because he had just come out from the Valley of Starvation, but his meridians and dantian had also become incomparably hungry, desperately and greedily devouring the surrounding energy. Not long after, a headless, one-armed stone statue appeared in front of them. "Tian, what were you like when you were young?" "Very high." Tang Tian had a deep understanding of force exertion. Although he did not understand all the mysteries, he could roughly estimate how strong the finger's strength was required to exert such force. The finger's strength should be about 40 times that of a normal martial artist. Anyway, in their eyes, the Pointed Sea Spear was the Aries Spear of Stars. Tang Tian listened quietly, not knowing how to comfort her. Gu Shue's eyes lit up. "Then let's dig it out." "Hey Ling Su, your Aries Spear of Stars training is not bad." Tang Tian laughed as he walked over. In this happiness and satisfaction, Tang Tian brought Gu Shui to the Grand Canyon. "I'm done with my work. Everything is arranged. I can finally relax." Gu Shui's face was full of smiles. "Oh right, I've already reported your names. The Starry Door trials will be held 2 months later. You guys leave a month earlier, there's plenty of time." Gu Shui gently bent down and plucked a small blue flower. She placed it at the tip of her nose and sniffed it. She said softly, "When I was young, my father often brought me here to play. There's no one here anymore. My father said that 30 years ago, there would always be people coming here. It's said that a powerful treasure was unearthed. The entire ruins were dug up to the sky. There was nothing else. Other than these stone pillars and walls, no one wanted them. My father saw that I liked this place, so he got rid of all the weeds in the ruins and planted my favorite flowers. He said he wanted to gift me a garden." "No." Tang Tian shook his head. "I don't know why, but this stone hand gives me an unusual feeling." The two of them started to get busy. To Tang Tian, pulling out the weeds was a walk in the park. He started to live alone very early on. He had a lot of life experience. Looking at Gu Shui, who was cheering like a little girl, Tang Tian then remembered that the new patriarch of the Gu family was actually a little girl. It was a stone-carved palm. The movement of the palm attracted Tang Tian's gaze. It was a simple hand gesture, but for some reason, it made Tang Tian's heart palpitate uncontrollably. The time it took to release the spear was shorter, which meant that Ling Su's Sea of Stars was more compact and more stable. Pointed Sea Spear? Tang Tian was stunned. Tang Tian stood rooted to the ground. His eyes were wide open. His face was unhappy. "Hey! It could be seen that there were not many people in the canyon. The place was overgrown with weeds. There was not even a small path. Tang Tian grabbed onto Gu Shui. He stepped on the cliffs on both sides of the canyon and flew forward. It was a relaxed and carefree feeling. Energy continuously entered his meridians and was refined into true power. Once again, it was injected into the Dantian pool. That kind of happiness and satisfaction almost made Tang Tian cry. "All right." Tang Tian readily agreed. Gu Shui rarely made any request. It was not an overboard request. Black Mountain City had been in turmoil recently. Although he and Ling Su were there, no one dared to make a move on the Gu family. But Gu Shui's safety was a huge problem. Tang Tian's face turned white. He still had the trauma of being bitten on his buttock. In Tang Tian's mind, the scene of the bone-gnawing wolves roaring and rushing towards him in the Valley of Starvation appeared. Immediately, his heart trembled. His buttocks were in pain. Hearing the two words canyon, Tang Tian thought of the Valley of Starvation, and his mind trembled. "I'm not done." Ling Su did not care about Tang Tian. He walked to a corner and meditated. Increase the amount? "Hey, where are we going?" "Haha, no problem." A ruin appeared in front of Tang Tian. The ground was filled with broken walls. What was left were some rock carvings. But from the traces of wind erosion, it could be seen that they were very old. After passing through the canyon, the scenery became clear. Tang Tian understood what Gu Shui meant when she said the scenery was not bad. Although it was very old and had been eroded by wind, the patterns on the walls and pillars were still solemn and exquisite. The ruins were filled with brightly colored flowers, which made the remnants of the ruins look even more ancient and unadorned. Tang Tian was surprised. "If you want to thank me, play with me for a day," Gu Shui said generously. "It's not easy for me to rest. I want to go out for a walk and relax. I'll have to trouble you, young lad, to be my guard." Tang Tian pointed at the stone hand in the mud. "That." Tang Tian threw away the heaviness in his heart and laughed. Suddenly, he grabbed Gu Shui and soared into the sky. Cough, cough, cough. A godlike young lad, how could he be so embarrassed by a mere Valley of Starvation? Tang Tian's speed was very fast. While he was pulling the grass, he answered Gu Shui's endless questions. Suddenly, something in the mud caught his eye. Tang Tian knew that his intuition was very strong. With 13 times of intuition, he was much stronger than the average martial artist. This fellow is not an ordinary person. Bing was suddenly full of emotions. The Aries Spear of Stars is very unique. It is famous for being hard to train. When he releases his spear, it brings along a strong spiraling force. When used for offense, it has astonishing destructive power. When used for defense, it can dissipate the enemy's force. Look at him, he can release his spear 30 times in a second. And look at his spear, it's all relying on his fingers. Pointed sea spear it is. Are you done training? Tang Tian was eager to try. Then let's fight. Don't look down on me, Tang Tian said firmly. How can I be defeated by this asshole? I'm his boss. And Tang Tian was surprised. To be able to hear such praise from Bing's mouth, it was Tang Tian's first time. But looking at Ling Su's focused expression, Tang Tian could not help but nod. This fellow is indeed very strong. The way he releases his spear is very unique. It's my first time seeing him use his fingers to release his spear. A normal martial artist's finger strength was 40 times. This strength could not be compared to his arm strength, but it was already very shocking. On the other hand, this weird way of releasing his strength caused the speed of his attacks to decrease greatly. The spear became even more sudden and unpredictable. The lethality increased rapidly. Gu Shui calmed himself down and shouted, "Let's go outside the city. Over there, do you see it? There's a big canyon." Aries Spear of Stars? Tang Tian was immediately curious. It sounds very powerful. Suddenly, a beautiful figure barged in. "Tian, you brat, You didn't even pass the recruit camp. What absolute arts! Bing sneered. But his heart was still warm. He said, but since I'm still alive, the Southern Cross Army is destined to flourish. Hee, seems like I'll have to increase your strength. If not, if I lose to this Aries brat, then I'll lose face. His entire body was drenched in sweat. He gasped for breath. Only then did he notice Tang Tian in the corner. At this age, he had experienced so many misfortunes and tribulations. It was not easy. When I was young, I was with my mother. Then she passed away. Tang Tian immediately started moving. The loose soil was easy for him. Gu Shui stopped the sorrow in his heart. His face once again hung a warm smile. I haven't been here for so long. The grass here has grown so much. Hey, Tian, let's pull the grass. Ling Su, who had completely forgotten himself, finally stopped. No. Tang Tian did not understand. Aren't there you and me? However, after thousands of years of evolution, the name of a martial technique changing was not something too surprising. Regardless of whether it was Bing or Tang Tian, they did not care. That's great. Tang Tian was overjoyed. Thank you. Yes, very powerful, Bing said. I don't know how it is now, but at that time it was the strongest martial technique of the Aries constellation. It was very famous. I never thought that in this era it would still be passed down. But the inheritance of our Southern Cross Army has been completely destroyed. Tang Tian thought so too. No matter what it was, wouldn't they know once they dug it out? Chapter 154. I've found one. Dang. The undulation of the martial spirit? Tang Tian did not notice it. After being reminded by Bing, he used his hands to touch the statue, and closed his eyes to feel it. Her face was anxious. The cracks on the 5 stone statues could be seen with the naked eye, and when the last piece of stone entered the stone statue, in front of Tang Tian and Bing, were 5 perfect and flawless stone statues. But when the 5 statues were placed together, even Gu Shui could see that it was not normal. His experience was far richer than Tang Tian's. The 5 statues in front of them were ancient, but they were still able to maintain their good condition, and were once again awakened. These things were definitely not simple. Tang Tian felt a chill down his spine. The hair on his back stood up. Without thinking, he bent his waist, and the cold sword aura brushed past his spine. A ray of sharp tan Tue blade brought along a mist, and pounced towards the opponent. There's one here. The one-armed headless statue only had one arm, and it made a weird hand gesture. Tang Tian felt that something was about to break out from the ground beneath his feet. He immediately dodged backwards. Whoosh, a shadow drilled out from the ground and whooshed past him. It was a piece of crushed stone. He secretly shook his head. That day, he was impulsive and used the green-red cross scythe. It took him a few days to recover. It was better to use less powerful technique. Let's quickly search and see if there are any other statues. Tang Tian was also filled with anticipation. He suddenly felt that this could be an amazing discovery. Tang Tian did not expect that the extremely sharp tan Tue blade was actually unable to leave any marks on the statue's body. He did not know what was not simple, but his intuition was extremely strong. Because he was attracted by the hand gesture at first glance. If not for Bing's reminder, he would not have felt the weak martial spirit undulation from the statue. The two of them did not feel tired. They looked at the small hill, as though they were looking at a pile of treasures. The two of them started to assemble the statues excitedly. In this aspect, Gu Shui's talent was much higher than Tang Tian's. Very quickly, Tang Tian decided to stand aside and watch, because he realized that his help was not as fast as Gu Shui's. Tang Tian's true power rippled. The cold chi exploded, and formed a circle of air around Tang Tian. Gu Shui's face was slightly pale. She subconsciously leaned towards Tang Tian. Suddenly, one of the statues opened its eyes and smiled. The statue's face was actually like a woman's skin, with a hint of charm. Tan Tue blade struck the statue, but what Tian did not expect was that, other than the statue swaying a little, there were no injuries. It's a very evil and cold martial spirit. Tang Tian checked the cracks on the statue. The cracks were not serious, so it should not have been broken for too long. Thinking about what Gu Shui said, 30 years ago, many people came here, Tang Tian guessed that the other parts were broken at that time. It seems to be an amazing discovery. Gu Shui was extremely happy. It was as though she found a big treasure. Her face was filled with joy and curiosity. Furthermore, this amazing discovery was made together with Tang Tian, and there was nothing that made her happier. Another statue appeared behind him. Its index and middle fingers were like a sword, pointing straight at Tang Tian's back. Not long after, they heard Gu Shui's cheerful voice. "Over here!" Tang Tian's reaction was fast. His right leg hooked downward. The two of them started to search seriously. "Hey, uncle, do you know him?" Tang Tian and Bing secretly conversed. If his strength was at its peak, then he would not be worried at all. This kind of trash, one finger was enough to crush them all. The broken parts that they found were piled up into a small hill. Bing, who was controlling the saber-toothed tiger, appeared beside Tang Tian. Gu Shui was thrown far away by Tang Tian. Gu Shui, who was in the air, immediately flew away. She knew her strength was meager. She could not help much. The most important thing was not to distract Tang Tian. Damn it! Tang Tian's body took the chance to lie down. He dodged the statue's finger. The moment he fell to the ground, Tang Tian fiercely stomped on the ground. He was like an arrow that left the bow. He rushed out. The two of them ran to the statue. They tried to piece it back together, but they realized there was an extra piece. Tang Tian glanced at it. He nodded his head. "It's beautiful." That perfect arm was indeed very beautiful, although Tang Tian did not know what was called artistic beauty, but his gaze would always be attracted to that arm. It was very graceful. Who? The 5 fingers of the grasping flower flew towards the back of Tang Tian's head. The cold chi was as though it wanted to pierce through his head. Bang! The godlike young man's face darkened. He said angrily, "These 5 fellows don't look like good people. They actually tried to charm me. You guys are dead." One by one, the broken pieces were attracted by the strong suction force. Like a rainstorm, they shot out from the ground and entered the 5 broken statues. Countless white vortexes, with Tang Tian as the center, suddenly rushed out in all directions. His pupils constricted. Seeing Tang Tian open his eyes, Gu Shui was curious. What's so special about the statue? Tang Tian and Gu Shui started to search the ruins. The qi swept past his body. Tang Tian's heart shivered. The qi was extremely cold and strange. It was like a living poisonous worm. It tried to drill into Tang Tian's body. Bing was not as optimistic as Tang Tian. He was facing a great enemy. Looking at the 5 statues, they were not ordinary. Every statue's martial spirit was different. But they had a subtle connection. Pu. The 5 beautiful statues were glowing with a demonic aura. It was like they were alive. Tang Tian's gaze was attracted to them. However, before he could even stand still, the stone man was like a maggot attached to his bones, haunting him like a ghost. And he had a premonition that this special hand technique was not that simple. With that thought, Tang Tian's spirit was roused. Let's search. Maybe we can find its hand and head. These statues are not ordinary. Gu Shui opened her eyes wide. She looked at Tang Tian, who had his eyes closed. She could not tell what was so attractive about the statue to Tang Tian. "Take care of yourself," Bing bellowed. But the moment the 5 statues were stepped on, the demonic and cold qi suddenly surged. With a loud bang, it exploded. "I don't know." Gu Shui shook her head. "Many people have come here before, but no one knows what era the ruins are from." But with his current strength, Bing's disapproving voice came out from the saber-toothed tiger's armor. It can be considered a real battle practice. But don't call me out for no reason. For a chief instructor like me, the appearance fee is expensive. As a hired thug, Ghost Claw is very qualified. The 5 statues were smiling. Some looked like they were holding flowers. Some looked like they were standing with their fingers straight. Some looked like they had their palms open with 3 fingers pointing to the sky. Their expressions and hand movements were all different. Bing was speechless. What era are these ruins from? Tang Tian asked Gu Shui. 5 broken and incomplete stone statues. The dazzling blade aura suddenly blossomed. Tang Tian accurately blocked a palm that appeared out of nowhere. His 5 fingers were like holding flowers. A sweet fragrance entered his nose. Tang Tian felt his blood churning. His legs became weak. He retreated a few steps. The martial spirit was weak. But it was a demonic martial spirit. Tang Tian's heart trembled. It was the first time he felt such a cold and demonic martial spirit. At this point, he already knew that this headless one-armed stone statue was no ordinary object. But which constellation would produce such a demonic chi? The 2 of them buried their heads in the ruins. After noon, the 2 of them finally plowed through the ruins a few times. Other than those buried deep underground, there was no way to search carefully. Weird. Almost at the same time, the other 4 statues opened their eyes. Some were laughing, some were crying, some were happy, and some were angry. I don't know. Bing shook his head. His tone was surprised. These statues are weird. They seem to have the undulations of a martial spirit. 7 consecutive blades landed on the statue. The statue that did not have any before finally had a crack. The statue turned into a human. It was extremely creepy. Chi. Tang Tian's pupils constricted. But he was not afraid. Instead, he was eager. Seems like it is not easy to deal with. Tang Tian's face changed. He pushed Gu Shui behind him. The martial spirits on each of the stone statues were clearly very weak, but when the 5 stone statues were placed together, the aura of the martial spirits suddenly became very strong. Gu Shui was interested. Without hesitation, he said, "Then let's look for it. Then we can complete it. Look at its hand. It's very beautiful." Tang Tian took a deep breath. The palm that was hidden at his waist activated the Shiratori vortex. It has a martial spirit? Gu Shui was stunned. The statues have martial spirits? Bang! Tang Tian took the chance to catch his breath. He could see the statue in front of him clearly. Although the 5 statues were not complete, they were placed together. The surrounding temperature dropped. The cold chi lingered around the 2 of them. The broken rocks stuck on one of the statues. It was a perfect fit. I feel that it's better to save some spirit nuclei, Tang Tian said. We are very poor. The aura of the 5 afterimages in the field continued to rise. A cold and demonic aura spread out in waves. Tang Tian had a hallucination, as though the 5 broken images were alive. Yes. Tang Tian's face congealed. It has a martial spirit. Bing secretly thought in his heart. He did not know anything about the history of the 3 great armies from the time of their demise until now. He did not know which dynasties or which powerful constellations had appeared during this period. Tang Tian looked at it. He felt dizzy. He became alert and woke up. Tang Tian was alarmed. He shouted, "It's here!" The chi became stronger. Tang Tian's uneasiness increased. He could not care about anything else. He grabbed Gu Shui and threw her behind him. "It's not this one." Tang Tian was excited. "Seems like there's more than one statue here." Hiss! He roared, "Bing!" Tang Tian's spirit was roused, and he immediately ran over. It was indeed an arm. From the style, it was exactly the same as the statue. Tang Tian observed for a moment. It was a completely different hand gesture. Chapter 155. Chi Chi Chi, a white whirlpool of air, with a thin whistle, like a school of mischievous fish, rushed towards the ball of red-fist seal. Many thoughts suddenly emerged in his mind, but at this moment, Tang Tian's heart was in a strange tranquility. The angry-faced statue was like a sieve, trembling violently. Its body had many shallow pits. Tang Tian's pupils suddenly shrunk. A dot of red light lit up on the crying-faced statue's middle finger. Tang Tian did not have any fear in his heart, although these statues were emitting a strange and cold qi, but Tang Tian's guts were originally big. Such a strong qi could not affect him at all. A straight red sword aura gushed out from the crying-faced statue's middle finger, suddenly reaching in front of Tang Tian. The 5 round pearls in his palm suddenly turned into 5 puddles of blood. The 5 puddles of blood mixed together, squirming. The blood puddles could faintly see a human shape. Seems like I need to spend some time to temper the heavenly crane gloves. Poof, poof, poof. A thick and ancient qi suddenly enveloped the entire area. The crying-faced statue instantly turned into a pile of dust. Dangerous white bird. Tang Tian was stunned. These statues' chests were so hard. His tan tue blade could not even leave a mark on them, but the ghost claw could actually pierce through their chests. The moment the red light shone, Tang Tian had goosebumps all over his body. Without thinking, he struck out with the great monument palm. Bang! The angry-faced statue's body split into pieces. Tang Tian did not give the angry-faced statue a chance to regain its footing. In a flash, he appeared in front of the angry-faced statue and lightly pressed his palm on the statue's body. This time, when the great monument palm was unleashed, Tang Tian felt that it was different. Without turning his head, the palm with the heavenly crane gloves suddenly flicked his 5 fingers. When the crane body energy flowed through the heavenly crane glove, the sharp crane body energy suddenly expanded. The stone man with the angry face clenched his fist, but his fist style was rather strange. His thumb was like a tongue, sandwiched between his index and middle finger. The red light in his eyes surged and he punched out. The red light around his fist surged and turned into a red fist mark. Like a cannonball, it whizzed toward Tang Tian's back. Great monument palm. Suddenly, Tang Tian's gaze fell on the spot where the crying face statue had been smashed into pieces by the great monument palm print. A red bead entered his vision. Tang Tian felt a burst of violent energy exploding in his left palm. The true power that was brimming with destructive power drilled into the meridians of his left arm. Tang Tian's chest tightened, but he forcefully circulated the crane body energy and dispelled the true power that was drilling into the meridians of his left arm. Borrowing this force, he was like a rubber ball that had been ruthlessly hit by a wooden stick, and his forward speed suddenly increased. A stone man's red eyes flashed, and his figure disappeared. Almost at the same time, Ghost Claw's slightly closed eyes suddenly opened. A cold light overflowed and his figure disappeared. Shiratori vortex. Tang Tian knew the expressions of these stone men. It was very strange, so he simply did not look. If he could wear it on his legs, then with the addition of the crane body energy, how strong would he be? The crying face statue's face was full of tears, with endless sorrow, despair, and gloom. Its red eyes were like a sea of blood from hell, as if there were countless of blood rays surging endlessly. His target was the crying face statue. Every time it collided, its body would tremble, and a shallow pit would appear on its extremely hard body. The great monument palm brought along a low whistling sound, and suddenly smashed towards the crying face statue. The distance between him and the crying face statue in front of him rapidly shortened. The palm print was like a tablet, square like a stroke, thick and solid like a rock or iron. On the body of the palm print there were 2 huge vermilion inscriptions. The red fist print plunged into the white vortex. The powerful red sword ray entered the great monument palm print, and just as it was about to pierce through, the 2 vermilion words, "Boulder," on the monument palm print suddenly shone brightly, and the light blocked the red sword ray. The battle between both parties quickly became intense. Ghost Claw. Ding. A red sword ray as thick as an arm spewed out from the closed palms and clashed with the great monument palm print. Tang Tian heaved a sigh of relief. Among the 5 statues, The flower-plucking statue gave him the strongest sense of danger. With the ghost claw leading it away, Tang Tian's pressure was greatly reduced. Both palms made the same hand gesture at the same time, and suddenly closed together. His entire face appeared red. Dazzling sparks blossomed in the air. Bang! The crying face statue seemed to know how powerful it was, and retreated without hesitation. Such a strong claw force! The red sword ray entered 3 inches into the monument and disappeared. But the great monument palm print still brought along a low whistling sound, and suddenly smashed towards the crying face statue. The sound of Bing and the other 2 statues fighting came from behind. The strength of the statues was much stronger than Tang Tian expected, and their moves were strange, and they had the advantage in numbers. Bang! He picked up the red pearl. The color of the pearl was the color of the statue's eyes. With a thought, Tang Tian ran to the place where the angry face statue was smashed to search, and indeed found a red pearl. His legs flew, and he swept forward. At the same time, he used the great monument palm with his left palm, and waved it behind him. But it was a pity, the heavenly crane gloves could only be worn on the hands. 10 6th level spirit nuclei, in exchange for Ghost Claw to fight, the 6th level Ghost Claw was equally strong. Ghost Claw appeared beside Tang Tian, his skinny figure, but made Tang Tian feel at ease. The 2 words, boulder, turned from vermilion to almost transparent, and looked like it was about to disappear. Ping! The red sword ray instantly crumbled into countless red rays. Tang Tian was in a strange state, and the entire battlefield seemed to be in his heart. Bing and the 2 statues fought, and was not at a disadvantage. Those simple and clean moves, even Tang Tian felt that they were not moves, but in Bing's hands they had astonishing power. Compared to the green and red cross scythe previously, Bing's moves were even more simple and unadorned. Ka, the heavenly crane gloves in his hands changed shape, like a crane retracting its neck, ready to strike. The Tan-Tue blade just now was unable to cause any damage to the statue, so Tang Tian simply used the great monument palm to win with his strength. The angry face statue roared in anger and tried to block, but there were too many white birds, and it could not take care of them all. Pu, the crane body energy whirlpools of qi continuously hit its body. The crying face statue's red eyes suddenly brightened, its thumb and index finger formed a circle, its middle and ring finger were like a sword, its little finger pointed outwards, and pointed towards Tang Tian. Suddenly Tang Tian understood. He had tried to use the crane body energy into the Shiro whirlpool before, but the power compared to this was like heaven and earth. The key was the heavenly crane gloves. When the heavenly crane energy reached a certain level of strength, then this move would have a qualitative leap. Just by relying on the heavenly crane gloves to strengthen the heavenly crane energy so greatly, this treasure was extremely useful to him. His aura surged. Tang Tian did not wait for the statue to make a move. He bent his waist and pounced forward. The flower-pinching statue's eyes glowed red, smiling as usual, the slender fingers pinching the flower in the air. Bing did not teach Tang Tian any specific martial techniques, but threw Tang Tian into different environments, and let Tang Tian adapt and adjust himself. From all directions, they pounced towards the angry face statue. Tang Tian was extremely experienced in group attacks. Facing an attack from behind, he did not panic at all. He was very clear, to win in a pincer attack, he must think of a way to offset the opponent's advantage in numbers, and think of a way to form a one-on-one situation. Only then would he have the chance to win. This was Tang Tian's first time using the heavenly crane gloves to fight, and the feeling was very different. The slender fingers pinching the flower and the skinny iron hook clashed, and both of them did not move an inch. The angry face statue behind Tang Tian became even more furious. It roared, its red eyes were like rolling flames, and punched again, towards Tang Tian's back. The eyes of the statue were suffused with a demonic red, like red chalcedony, those lively stone faces, immediately had an indescribable gloominess. Tang Tian felt like he was being stared at by a snake. Slowly coming out from the aftertaste, Tang Tian was awoken by a few loud sounds. Bing cleanly smashed the two statues, and Ghost Claw's 5 fingers pierced through the chest of the flower-pinching statue. Tang Tian stood rooted to the ground, still reminiscing about the battle just now. His own strength had indeed improved a lot. He was not surprised that he had comprehended the killing technique of the Great Monument Palm. What really surprised him was the power of the White Crane Vortex. Ghost Claw's eyes were burning with fighting intent. His 5 fingers brushed through the air, bringing about dazzling sparks, straight towards the flower-pinching statue. That is? The 5-eyed statue made Tang Tian's hair stand. Monolith! The situation was disadvantageous to them, but Tang Tian had his own way. Ding! Tang Tian immediately laughed involuntarily. He was really like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. With this White Crane Vortex, his fighting strength would increase greatly in the future. In the past, the Shiratori Vortex was mostly used to disturb the enemy, and did not have any killing power. The Fist Seal and the White Vortex continuously collided, and the Fist Seal was immediately swayed left and right by the high-speed spinning White Vortex. The direction of the Fist Seal changed and shot out to the side. Meanwhile, the spiraling air masses that resembled white elves happily pounced towards the crying-faced stone man. The remaining force of the Great Monument Palm collided with the crying statue. Very quickly, he found the other 3 red pearls. The heavenly crane gloves strengthened the crane body beyond Tang Tian's imagination, and the power of the Shiratori Vortex that strengthened the crane body was also beyond Tang Tian's imagination. The 2 words, monolith and the red sword aura quickly dimmed. In the future, this technique will be called White Crane Vortex. But at this time, the White Vortex suddenly roared, and the hidden crane body energy suddenly exploded. Every White Vortex was a blade that was rotating at a high speed. Hiss! The crying statue's red eyes flashed a trace of panic, and the air around it suddenly became stagnant. It seemed to know that it was a dangerous moment. His palm missed, but Tang Tian was not annoyed. The Great Monument Palm was able to pose a threat to the statue. This result made his eyes light up. Behind him, the angry-faced statue took the opportunity to sneak an attack. After a while, the outer layer of the blood scab peeled off, and a statue the size of an index finger impressively appeared in Tang Tian's hands. The statue's eyes were red. On its forehead, on its left and right palms, there was an additional eye that looked like blood. 5-eyed statue. It was a habit for a long time, training hard day and night. Tang Tian had never been lazy. His Great Monument Palm had been trained to a very profound level, and was only 1 step away from comprehending the killing technique. Now that his life was threatened, his focus was unprecedentedly focused. The silver martial spirit was like a silver flame, silent and cold. The palm power penetrated through the body. Gu Shui saw that the situation was settled, and immediately flew over. When she saw the statue in Tang Tian's hands, her face changed, and she cried out.